What's happening, San Diego? Great Thursday to you. Welcome back. It's your midday hang. It's Andy and Elsten with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. And we are back all together. Annie Heilbrunn is here, along with Braden Zaprenant. My name's Craig Elsten. We are in our Odyssey studios overlooking Murphy Canyon. Looking like a beautiful day. And we've got a decent show lined up for you at best. Hey, it's the offseason. What do you want? 4 hours live local San Diego sports talk radio for you on San Diego Sports Leader. What's going on, Annie? How are you?
Good, good. How is everyone? How was the show yesterday?
Oh, it's
good.
We did it. Yeah,
awesome.
It's good.
Okay, good. Well, great to be back. We had our national letter of intent. It's not really that, I think, anymore. College commit signing day yesterday.
The one of 15.
Yeah, this was the big one, though, and we had more than 300 students, seniors, show up from schools all over the county for the Sports Association out there. This is a free thing that we provide. We did it at Snapdragon Stadium, and they got to make their announcements on the Jumbotron. All their families were there, so it's nice. Super fun because it's happy. Like, the kids are happy, the parents are proud. Everyone's wearing their college sweatshirt, bringing all their college paraphernalia to take pictures with. So it's exciting day.
How's the turf?
I honestly didn't even look at the turf. I mean, it looked.
God, what kind of reporter are you?
It looked.
Come on.
Not as luscious as I would hope.
Luscious.
Not luscious.
Not luscious.
Then I just looked away at the
Not
students and said,
zesty.
"Who could not smile at these kids?" So,
well,
yeah.
Good thing their smiling faces were better than the turf.
Amazing. Okay, well, great. Good day. Yeah, we had a cool show. We had Tyler Heaps on from SDFC. That was interesting. And you can check that out, by the way, on YouTube or as a split-off mini podcast if you want to go find that. What do we got for you today? We've got Mark Willard coming on at 10:30, a repeat appearance from our sister station, The Game, 95.7 up in San Francisco, with a look at kind of what's going on in Giants land. Is Ha-Sung Kim already there? What's going on with Buster Posey? The talk about them maybe dropping payroll a little bit. Are they going to try and take a step back? We'll get into it. We'll get into it with Mark coming up at 10:35. We'll do one of our kind of weekly. Yeah, it's been kind of weekly performance reviews, looking back at the season for a specific position. And today it's third base, which means it's obviously Manny. He was there most of the time. There were two other guys that were there semi-regularly. We'll talk about them all and kind of take a look, obviously not at the future. The future of the position is Manny Machado. Spoiler alert, it's Manny Machado, long term. So we'll talk about Manny's year, which really wound up being better than probably a lot of people thought at the end. That's coming up in the 11 a.m. hour. We'll have the 12 o'clock Sports Fix, of course, coming up at the midpoint of the show. It is a match game Thursday, so we will assemble the All-Star panel, see who's on the All-Star Celebrity panel today. I don't know. Will Scraby be here? On the right, Greg, I'm sure, is around. Adam, guaranteed around. I've already seen his smiling face walk by. Was probably on the phone with another person complaining about something or another. Seems like it's half of his day. Is somebody on there just
responding to those comments? Yes,
indeed. So we'll play the match game. We'll play our favorite silly game of the week coming up at 12:40 or thereabouts, and we'll do Ask Us Anything at the end of the show. We are all lined up, ready to go for you here today. Weird morning, though, over in La Mesa town, where we got halfway to dropping James off at school this morning, and then it turned out no school today.
Why?
I'm sorry?
Because a building, not catty corner, but kind of one block down and in, was on fire.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Building behind a place that I drive by every day and chuckle every day called the Hitchin Post Motel. I'm like, oh.
Interesting.
Well,
I don't know where that is.
who wants to hitch their hitchin to the Hitchin Post?
I didn't even know there was a Hitchin
That
Post
was the building that was
Motel
on
in La
fire?
Mesa.
It was the building behind it, apparently.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say they're covering up some evidence over there.
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering at first, too, because that was the first thing I heard. But, first information's always wrong in time of crisis. I heard the Hitchin Post Motel was on fire, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what happened last night?
Yeah, someone's hitching didn't go too well.
That's right.
I hope everyone's okay, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope everyone
Scary
is,
to
too.
have a fire, enough of a fire to shut down the school for a day and, to worry about the surroundings. So hopefully everyone's all right.
Well, that was the whole thing. No one could get through. They needed to get first responders in. It was
Yeah.
literally drop-off time. And so for my 13-year-old, Bonanza.
He is so stoked. It's like a snow day.
Halfway there, and you get turned around?
Yeah, in cold weather cities, they have snow days. Out here in Southern California, we usually have fire days.
Fire days, exactly. That's what we get.
I am a longtime East Countyan, but unfortunately don't know what is it again? Hitchin
Post Motel.
Well, I'll
El
have to
Cajon
frequent
Boulevard.
it. Yes. Okay. Well, that's probably maybe a
El
start
Cajon
of
Boulevard.
why. I don't get too far down El Cajon Boulevard all the time.
This is the
Why?
yeah.
You don't cruise down the boulevard?
I used to go to the
isn't
Croc
the-
Center a lot for
yeah.
like my nephew to play
Yes.
basketball and
Joan
stuff,
Croc
but
Center. Been
El
there
Cajon
before.
Boulevard is a very long
it is a
street.
long
This is
street.
actually the terminus of it on the east, I believe, or interruption from the freeway. So this is just right off Baltimore in La Mesa.
Yeah,
you
like
just-
more by the old 99-cent store. There, El Torito over there.
Yes, bingo,
see,
bingo.
I'm familiar with that area. Yes.
So there,
Costco's
if you
across
had
the
gone,
street.
if you had just taken a right there instead of continuing straight,
Okay.
over on the left, the Hitchin Post Motel,
I'll have to
and
check
then
it
over
out.
on the right, one block down, St. Martin's Academy.
All right. Wow.
Yeah, currently sitting silent. I assume the teachers are in the same boat as the students. Like, woohoo!
Yeah.
Beautiful day.
They made them stay.
Outta here. Oh, yeah, you're
like
right,
the
yeah.
like the dog meme.
Right.
See the fire all around them. This is
you,
fine.
You guys
This
stick
is
around and do side work.
Well, so
all
now
day.
does James just get the free day? He gets to.
Well, I mean, what do I know? He said he was going to watch the show. Maybe he's got the show up on the big screen, but
Oh yeah,
know,
right.
is
James is
he-
not watching our show.
I don't know.
Watching playing Fortnite.
But if he
Yeah.
is, he's probably playing Fortnite. I mean,
Shout out to James
He's
if
g-
he is, but I don't
yeah.
think he is.
I mean, I don't know whether he is or not. Nonetheless,
He's like, yeah, Dad, I'll watch your show. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
he said right as I
Bye."
left. Right. And then I assume right then the Nintendo Switch came out of its cradle and it'll be returned sometime around like 2:11, figuring that I'd be home around 2:15.
And then he'll watch, he'll find a 10-minute part of the show that he'll be able to talk to you about when you come home. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Dad, this part was really good.
You're gonna come home to a rager of Mountain Dew all over the place and pizza boxes and
Right.
a bunch of St. Martin kids passed out after playing Fortnite all day.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to be sneaky and close it all down at 2:10 and then open up his textbook and be like,
That's right.
Yep, I was studying
I was,
for
you
the
know.
I forget the name of the Catholic school entrance exam thing.
Oh yeah, the
HPST, HSPT, PTSD.
the
I
high school
forget.
placement exam.
High school
I think it's
placement.
literally what it is.
Yeah, high school placement test, HSPT. So he's studying. Yeah, he'll watch. I'll show up and he'll be like, "Yep, look, I was studying all day." Okay, circle of trust.
Yeah.
What are you really doing? Not supposed to play Fortnite on Thursday. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Free day.
Yeah. So that's what happened at home. Happiest person, of course, is Sammy the dog because now he's not in his crate all day. Now he's
Gets to play.
he's got a buddy.
He gets a free
He's
day
excited.
too. Yeah.
He gets a free day. He'll be let outside. He'll just sit in the sunshine
Maybe it
all
was
day.
Sammy the dog that committed the arson.
Oh
Right.
no, he's present and accounted for. I know where he was all night last
We have an
night.
alibi for Sammy the dog.
Yeah, I can alibi him.
Okay. The dog was upset being in his crate for so long. He's
Which
like, you
is-
know what?
yeah.
I'm gonna get the boy back.
By the way, that's the traditional definition of alibi is
That's
an
right.
excuse knowing where someone was,
That's right.
as opposed to something happening in a baseball game. but I digress.
They use the word alibi a lot on Law and Order.
Yes.
Yeah, SVU.
Dun,
Dun dun dun.
Does he have an alibi?
Well, I'm glad we could find where Sammy the dog was. Where was Craig this morning?
Where was I? Walking the dog.
That's right.
I'm president and accounted for as well.
Huge investigation.
I would not. I
Where
would not
was
have lit
James
anything
this
on
morning?
Fire. Yeah, laying on the couch,
That's right.
groaning. Yeah, I would not wanted to.
Can't
set
wait for the-
I wouldn't. I wanted him at school.
Can't wait for the
Yeah,
forensic files to come out where
Yeah.
Sammy the dog paid somebody
No,
to make this happen. This
Sam's
is great.
Sam's too chill. Sam's, he's an
He's a
antagonist
Cali
with
dog.
local dogs, but
Right.
that's about
That's
it.
what he wants you to think.
All right, so here's where we're going to start things off today. Is getting into a little more creativity for the Padres, and this was part of what we talked about yesterday, Annie, while you were away, was talking through some potential trade ideas, some room for flexibility. And the spark for this was what you tossed in the rundown this morning, which was, the Athletic is doing what they're doing. And we're very happy for their service.
What we all have to do during this time of year.
Yes.
Yes.
We'd like to thank them for their service, because then we can talk about it, and then ta-da. Here you are, a baseball discussion. But, they did a top 9 landing spots for Juan Soto. And then they did the same thing for the number 2 free agent on the market, and that's Corbin Burns. And they mentioned the Padres in the article, which was fleeting at best, I would say.
It was near the bottom.
Felt like a think piece exercise. Okay, tie him to the Padres now. And it was like, well, they need pitching. And
it was tough to tie him to the Padres after they started with this. The Athletic projected a 7-year, $217 million deal for Burns, which is, did you do the math on that already?
Well, it's about 30 a year.
Okay, it's about 30 a year.
Yeah.
And I was looking that up on my iPhone calculator.
21 and 7, that's 3. So.
Yes.
Yep.
So I personally have a hard time seeing that happening, especially committing to that for 7 years. And it might not be that.
No
that's
chance.
just the Athletics.
No chance.
Projection. That's their guess. It could be something different than that, of course. But yeah, I have a hard time seeing this one, that they're even going to be able to knock out a $30 million one for this year and committing to future years.
There's zero chance. Because Corbin Burns is not going to be sitting idly by on the market waiting for a 1-year pillow contract in March. Like, everyone wants Corbin Burns. So the Mets want him, and the Dodgers certainly could pay for him. They absolutely could. It would be a safer short-term deal for them than some of their other guys. The Orioles need to keep him. Like, they need to keep him. So,
and I think they've talked about being open to that, interested in that. Who has the money to do it is going to be that, or who is willing to put up that money, I should say.
How about the Red Sox? The Red Sox make a lot of sense to get back into things, and get into the swing of it.
Yeah, and they've already talked about how they want to get their starting rotation to take a few steps forward. So lift up that starting rotation as far as talent is concerned.
Yeah, and then there's the Mets. There's always the Mets. So,
yeah,
like, all of these teams can pay Corbin Burns full market rate.
There's always the Mets.
There's always
the
Mets.
Also,
that's so funny.
The Roki Sasaki sweepstakes are so important to teams such as the Padres, because you look at their starting rotation with Darvish, Dylan Cease, and Michael King, and you slot Roki Sasaki in there, and at least for a majority of the year, giving him the benefit of the doubt that he might have some growing pains, you can work around that 5th spot or that 5th and 6th spot, depending on how you want to run your rotation. You could even get a guy on a flyer, $1 to $2 million deal, or you can work around the Matt Waldrons and the Johnny Britos, et cetera, Randy Vasquez. That's why that Roki Sasaki becomes such a big selling point to the Padres, because you're spending you're spending very little money, You're
spending a rookie's money,
right? To be able to, you're spending Jackson Merrill money essentially. Well, maybe a little more. He's going to make some millions there, but Jackson also
getting a Roki Sasaki.
Bonus, so
yeah. No, I agree with you. Getting a Roki Sasaki is the equivalent, in my opinion, of we hung on to one of the pitching prospects that we wound up trading here, there, everywhere. But that person wasn't Robbie Snelling or Dylan Lesko or Adam Major. He was actually the number 1 prospect in baseball, Paul Skeens, basically. A skinny Japanese Paul Skeens. And just, boop, drop that into your minor league system to come walking through the gate, hoping to make the team as a rookie in 2025. That's what Roki Sasaki is. He is not just a difference maker. And Chris Reed was on yesterday. I was talking about this. I mean, I honestly feel this way. I don't want to say it every single day until my heart's broken. I think Roki Sasaki is a decade maker for the Padres. He's the thing we don't have. He's a young, controllable ace. That's the thing we don't have. We traded away all of our pitching prospects all the way through. The guy that was supposed to be that was Mackenzie Gore, right? Mackenzie Gore was the guy we drafted, 3rd overall. Was it 3rd or 7th? I think it was 3rd overall. When he came through, and we weren't going to trade him for anybody. And it took trading for Juan Soto for us to part with Mackenzie Gore. But that's the last guy we had in this system that was like a sure thing. It's going to be an ace. He's going to, and, Mackenzie Gore hasn't been an ace yet for Washington. He turned in a decent season last year, but that's the point. Sasaki is likely to be much better than that. He's much younger than that. It's a recruiting play. It's not a traditional play, and he has already shown by his actions that he is not motivated by money, because if he was motivated by money, he would stay in Japan no matter how mad he was at Chibalote. Like, there's just no chance that he would give up $300 million or more to, on a whim.
Yeah.
Right? This is an obvious decision. He wants to make it. So, hey, yesterday was a win for the Padres because he wasn't posted. Because if he's posted any time before the first week of December, it's a fait accompli. He goes to L.A. So...
Yeah, exactly. And it's not to say that the Padres can't win without Roki Sasaki. They can. And any team that doesn't get him can. But it's just the illustrative of the money. The fact that you're getting such a ceiling, such potential for such a low cost. And that's the difference between someone like that and Corbin Burns or Blake Snell. Now, can the Padres go out there and try to find like Flyers or a guy that maybe they can sign for $8 to $10 million if they choose to put their resources into their rotation on the money side? Absolutely. Like, it's not that they can't win without him, but it's just that you get such a. I heard who was saying it yesterday? It was someone on the station. Sorry, I don't know who. It was winning a lottery. It's kind of the equivalent of a lottery ticket. You're kind of winning the lottery ticket, and that's the difference there. You're just getting such a low cost, high potential player. But Corbin Burns, I think, Blake Snell, I believe, are out of their wheelhouse in terms of money. I could absolutely be wrong. That's just my opinion.
Who could be in the range? Well, what about a divisional rival's high-paid left-hander? We could talk about that when we come back. Something we kicked around a little bit as well. We'll talk about Jordan Montgomery and more as we continue with Annie and Elsten. Baseball talk all through the first half of the program, including picking through what's going on in San Francisco at the bottom of this hour. All that ahead right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 10:23 on the Fan. It's Annie and Elsten, your midday hang, rolling with you till 2 o'clock today. Gwen and Chris will check in then. They got the shortened 2 to 4:30 program because we got a good Thursday night football game tonight.
You said yesterday about how the longest day for our shows, which made obviously because Sam's got his show and Scrape's got his show. But it's also the only day that they're not preempted by something.
That's true.
I mean, they're preempted by something every day.
Seemingly.
God,
the season is just a joyride
well,
for
even
the Gwen and Chris show.
And then in the off season, at least through football season, they got 2 days a week as preempted.
Yeah.
And then
4:30.
Could you imagine if we had a college basketball team on our station?
Man.
They would never have a full show.
MLS team.
They play at night.
Yeah, they do. That's
Weeknights?
true. Yeah. They could bump them. Anything could bump the Gwen and Chris show.
Yeah, by the time MLS starts, it's baseball season, so they're getting preempted anyway.
Well, anyways, they're on until 4:30. Then they're bumped for Westwood 1, and we got Thursday Night Football. We got the Commanders and the Eagles tonight. The Eagles, but that should be a good game. 2 7-win teams going head-to-head. Two good quarterbacks. So that should be a fun one later this evening right here on 97.3 The Fan. One of the things that I was going through this morning, again, thank you for your work, Think Piece Writers, 15 players who could be traded this offseason. Number 14 was a player that we chatted about briefly at the end of the show yesterday, Annie, which was Jordan Montgomery. The Diamondbacks left-hander signed a 1+1 last year, a $20 million, $25 million last year, 22.5 player option for 2025. Figure if he pitched well, he'd go back on the market. Instead, he pitched horribly. The old classic reverse risk. This is how it works. When you give somebody like this and they have a season with a 6.3 ERA and a whip of 1.6, adding up to a negative 1.4 WAR season. It's hard to be that bad as a starting pitcher to get to negative 1.5 WAR. Are you kidding me? But that's how bad Jordan Montgomery was. They took him out of the rotation by the end of the year. He was pitching mop-up relief work. Then he bought in for $22.5 million this year. A couple weeks after Ken Kendrick, the owner of the Diamondbacks, ripped him on the radio and took the blame for signing him and saying it was a terrible waste of the club's resources.
He signed on March 29th.
Yeah.
I find that to be very significant with a bad season as a pitcher.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scott Boras.
Thank you, Scott Boras.
For nothing. I mean, I think he didn't wreck Blake Snell's season, but Blake Snell only started 20 games last year. Guarantee you it's because of how late he signed.
Well, Blake Snell has notoriously not been super great in preparation for a season.
Right.
Except for the one season he won a Cy Young.
Right. He's got 2 years. He's got 2 years in his career. I was looking at him again yesterday. Blake has 2 years in his entire career that he has pitched 180 innings.
Both Cy Young years?
He won the Cy Young both years.
Both contract years. And both years probably the offseason was a little bit different than his other offseasons.
Cy Young both times. 180 innings, Cy Young. 120 innings, classic Blake Snell season.
Start off slow, finish strong, offseason preparation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sip my tea.
Snell's a free agent. You can set him aside for now. We loved JT Rogan's tweet the other day. Yeah, if the Padres really wanted to spend, Blake would want to come here. I don't think there's any question about that.
I think you could put a lot of names on that list.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who'd like to come here.
I think there's a lot of players, really good players in baseball that if they had the money would love to come here.
But I think the question that we want to ask you, Annie, is Montgomery. If understanding trades in division don't happen a lot, right, and especially significant players, so there's that. We can look up Padre Diamondback trades. There have been some. There haven't been a ton. I think Braden told me yesterday the last Padre pitcher
one that we had.
Yeah, was Ian Kennedy. So, okay, once a decade, maybe we're allowed to make a trade with the Diamondbacks. They would pay some part of his deal for sure, 22.5. Maybe pay, what Jim Bowden wrote in his deal today was maybe pay $12 million. So turn him into a $10 million pitcher, right?
Yeah.
Would you be interested?
Well, $10 million. Yeah,
That's all
I
you
would
have to
be
pay?
interested. I mean, if they're paying that part of his contract and he is a guy that in his walk year has been excellent And I do think he's a good pitcher. I think he had a really bad fit last year. Really tough offseason. Didn't sign till late into spring training. Had all that kind of talk around him, and then all that, hey, what's going to happen now? What are this Boris for? What are they going to end up being like? How is this going to affect them? I think there's still a high upside for Jordan Montgomery. I think that you do take the flyer on him. I think if you're looking at that, you're also asking, like, would you rather have him over who they just had this year? Martin Perez. Would you rather have? Yeah. But would you?
Would I?
I just looked up the trades between the Padres and Diamondbacks.
Give them to me.
Guess how many Padres Diamondbacks trades there have been in the history of the Diamondbacks organization?
This is going back to 1998.
Correct.
So 26 seasons?
Yes.
4?
Yes.
4.
There's been 4 trades. 2007.
Okay.
2008, 2012, and 2013. I gave you the 2013 one yesterday.
2007, 2008.
Yes.
2012.
2012 was a purchase. Padres purchased Tommy Lane from the Diamondbacks. That counts as a trade.
Okay. And then 2013.
Yes.
All years where the Padres were nowhere near the realm of contention, right? Wait, 07 we were contending.
Yes.
What was the trade in 07? Diamondbacks trade 07.
His brother works TV for the Dodgers.
Scott Hairston.
Scott Hairston for Leo Rosales.
Scott Hairston.
And the other trade is a San Diego native that has a very important job in Major League Baseball currently.
Josh Barfield?
No.
Damn. Tony Clark?
Tony Clark.
Tony Clark.
Padres traded Tony Clark to the Diamondbacks for Evan Scribner. Scribner?
Tony Clark
Scribner.
for Evan Scribner?
Correct. Those are your 4 trades between the Padres and Diamondbacks.
Okay, so we're not getting Jordan Montgomery.
I'd throw in an offer at least.
I'd like to shelve this discussion. It's completely unrealistic. If the last guy, Scott Hairston in 2007, Ian Kennedy when we were a dead last team.
I think if they want to get rid of him, though, they're gonna go to a team. If a team wants to take him and they're really motivated to get rid of him,
right,
and they don't think that highly of him,
somebody out of the division is going to feel that way.
I would think so. I mean, I don't think he goes to the Padres personally, and I don't know where they're going to spend their money. But I don't think he goes to the Padres. But I would look at him if I'm AJ Preller and he's on the table and they're shopping him. I would definitely be like, hey,
that's why
this could be a really good fit for us.
I don't mind Craig's idea of giving them Robert Suarez.
That was my trade idea.
That's not a bad idea because then it entices the Diamondbacks to make a trade within the division, right? It's here's a closer for you. We'll take your starter off your hands. If you cover the $10 million, we're paying $10 million each, right?
Right, so it'd be net zero on the payroll.
On the payroll,
because he's getting paid 10 next year. So they give us $12 million. Now you're giving Suarez his 10 to Montgomery, and you've turned a reliever into a starter. And now you just slide Adam into the closer's role.
Give him a prospect, too.
And they both walk after this year.
And then they walk. And then they walk. Because they are both walking.
Yeah.
And now you don't have to deal with Jordan Montgomery anymore.
I could see it.
I could see the Diamondbacks being like, we're not doing it.
It's never going to happen because they're just afraid.
They're afraid.
Teams are always afraid in division.
And nobody likes AJ.
Well, that too. I mean, that's clear. That's 100% clear.
I would imagine the division's a little bit worse on that.
They probably hate him the most.
Dislike him even more. But I think it'd be great.
If they don't think that their guy has a lot, if they really are that down, which I don't actually agree with, I think that their manager and coaching staff probably is very high on Jordan Montgomery. But now it's just like, how do you mend that broken bridge?
But those aren't the guys that are making these decisions.
Right. Maybe they're like, well, fine, you take him.
This is why
so good?
I believe that it might work because
they'll sink you.
They're making emotional decisions. And people that make emotional decisions usually make the wrong decision. And if they're emotionally distraught with having this guy on the team and probably hate the fact that he opted into the $21 million that he is getting this year, 22, whatever it is.
They should hate the fact that their owner went on air and said what he said.
But what I'm saying is the owner. If the owner is so emotionally wants to get rid of this guy, I mean, they have to do what the owner says, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to be like, all right, well, we'll send him elsewhere. It's a perfect time to strike.
Maybe,
if they weren't emotionally involved with this where they just need to get rid of this guy, I would say there's no way they make this happen with the Padres. But the fact that emotions are involved, I think it's a wide open door.
What an interesting idea. I mean, here's what I have to say. If we could confuse the Diamondbacks, like use a VPN or something, use something to confuse our location.
Here comes the dark arts again.
Make them think that this is a call coming from Tampa Bay. You know, like just get them spun around a little bit.
They're out of office right now. Who knows where their headquarters are currently located?
Because if we were Tampa, I think this is a trade the Rays would make and the Diamondbacks would make in a minute.
Why don't we just pretend we're in Vegas?
Suarez for Montgomery, 1-for-1 challenge deal, 1 year left each.
Works out for both
you're
clubs.
Addresses an area of direct need for Arizona. I mean, their bullpen at the back was a nightmare.
Yes.
Now you've got Suarez. Now you've got everything settled. Now you've got set up men in front of him. Oh, you've got a good bullpen now. Montgomery, hey, let him
could make
loose.
sense, yeah.
Let him loose. That's 150 innings instead of the 70 innings you get from Suarez. That lifetime 3.85 FIP for Montgomery, lifetime 4.0 ERA. Give me 150 innings of that. Pitching left-handed in the division, that's probably a good thing.
Better
is
idea.
it really, though? I mean, L.A. demolishes left-handers, but they demolish everybody.
Exactly.
Nonetheless.
Better idea.
Yeah?
You have A.J. Preller get a burner phone with a Sacramento area code.
There you go.
And then you have Josh Stein call for A.J., and he could do a voice of some kind.
Do a voice.
Yes.
Here he's great with voices.
It's great.
And
I think
next
we're
thing
onto
you know,
something. Wheels are turning at the Padres headquarters.
It all makes sense now in some crazy way. So that's how the Padres. So there you go. We've put it to bed, Annie and Elsten audience. Here's how we're going to trade for Jordan Montgomery. It's going to involve a burner phone.
That's right.
Some fake voices.
Yep.
And confusing the Diamondbacks into thinking they're not trading in division. Because otherwise, come on. It was just a talk radio segment. Is what it wound up
burner
being.
phone. No, even better. Burner phone from New York. And then go like, hey, we're adding 2 expansion teams, and we got to change the divisions a little bit. So the Padres are no longer in your division, Arizona.
We're going to the American League West.
They're going to have the national.
Tipped me with that good
They're
time.
going to have
I wonder
4.
if he would return to the Rangers, or I feel like the Braves always make these kinds
The
of trades
Rangers.
too.
The rumors were
of
the
course
Rangers
Braves would do it.
Rangers
Yeah.
are interested.
Especially if Fried left. If they're letting Fried go, and then they could go let Montgomery come slide in.
Well, the Diamondbacks.
That's Braves voodoo right there.
Right.
Diamondbacks usually get fleeced by the Braves. So
Yeah, no kidding.
more times than
Dansby
not.
Swanson says hello.
Yeah, Dansby, what's up?
Yeah, they're losing Max Fried and Charlie Morton, so they've got some decisions to make in there.
Well, Charlie Morton's like almost as old as I am. So
Wow.
The Atlanta Braves traded Shelby Miller and Gabe Spear to the Diamondbacks for
Shelby Miller.
Aaron Blair, Ender Inciarte, and Dansby Swanson.
And not for nothing, Ender Inciarte started in their outfield for like 3 years and was really good.
Diamondbacks also gave the Braves Trevor Cahill, Bronson Arroyo. And they gave him Chris Johnson and Justin Upton for Nick Ahmed.
Let's go ahead and give ourselves a Braves burner phone.
We're on it.
I'm sure the GMs wouldn't mind if AJ impersonated one of them to make a deal.
How about this Diamondbacks Braves trade? Diamondbacks traded Chris Johnson and Justin Upton to the Braves for Nick Ahmed, Randall Delgado, Brandon Drury, Martin Prado, and Zeke Spruill.
Zeke was the throw-in. We got to take a timeout. We got Mark Willard waiting up in San Francisco. We're going to give him a dial. What's going on with Los Gigantes this offseason? More baseball chatter on the other side. It's Annie and Elsten on the Fan. Welcome back, everybody. 10:43 on the Fan. It is Annie and Elsten here with you. Annie Halpern, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprenet, all together in our Odyssey studios. We talk so much about the Padres and the offseason. One of the things we want to do through the offseason is check in with each of the other markets in the NL West and see what's what. And as such, we're psyched to welcome back to the program Mark Willard, joining us, the co-host of Willard and Dibbs, 95.7 The Game, and on to talk a little Giants baseball with us. Mark, Craig, and Annie back here. Appreciate you. How you been?
Yeah, everything's good, Craig. Annie, how we doing?
Doing great, Mark. Doing great. Thanks for being on with us.
Of course. We're ready for another year of calling it the hot stove when it's probably not going to be.
Well, at least it's been hot under some people's seats. Farhan Zaidi, burned up seat, gone.
Sure.
Buster Posey taking over a shuffle discussion of potentially maybe rolling back payroll, but now you've got a less experienced front office. What are the vibes right now around the Giants?
The vibes are not good unless you bring up the name Buster Posey. That makes everybody feel good. And so that's fun, and there's obviously such a relationship there between him and the fan base, and so I think everybody's kind of got two emotions going at once. They're kind of excited to see what he can do, but I wouldn't necessarily call them optimistic about what he can do. How would you all feel if a new boss came in and you're like, man, we like this person a lot. This is great, and then the first thing that comes out about the new regime is, by the way, we're cutting payroll. That's not going to make anybody feel excited, and we don't really know what that means yet. But that report came out to a degree. It makes sense. But Giants fans are being fed in 1 week. We're cutting payroll and we're meeting with Juan Soto, and I'm like, I don't know how these two things work in concert with one another, and nobody in San Francisco believes that Juan Soto is a realistic possibility. Anyway, we've kind of been down that road and burned too many times, from Bryce Harper to Aaron Judge to Shohei and beyond. And so there's like this excitement about Buster, but I think there's also kind of one eyebrow up about what is he actually going to be able to go do.
Always love your perspective, Mark. And yeah, along those lines, you've got Bob Melvin and Buster Posey, two former catchers there. What do you see that relationship as? I mean, do you think they have a good relationship? And what do you see their vision as? If they want to build a championship team, how are they saying they're going to go about it?
Yeah, I think that relationship, Annie, is great because they're cut from the same cloth, and it's going to cut one piece of the puzzle out, which was, Bob Melvin and Farhan Zaidi were not always eye to eye when it came to baseball stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's the way the Giants' power structure works. Farhan Zaidi had final say on the lineup, and I don't think that the baseball people always thought that Farhan was a baseball person. Farhan is really smart. He knows what he's doing in terms of making the move and the structure and all of that. But I don't think that they really always felt like he understood the ins and outs of strategizing a baseball game. And so I think that Buster and Bob, the former catchers and former Giants, I think they're cut from exactly the same cloth there. The question is going to be so does that mean you're going back to some sort of old school structure of a baseball team and starting to shun analytics, which, I know that speaks to some fans yeah, let's do that. I think if you do that, you're going to get killed in Major League Baseball because other teams are just going to be one step ahead of you. So I think that this will give Bob a little bit more game day juice, if you will. Mm-hmm. He'll be able to strategize a little bit more on how he wants to structure things, but it remains to be seen in terms of what that means for the Giants analytics department, which may lean a little bit back more toward the scouting baseball people.
Boy, I gotta build off that, Mark, and follow up because, of course, Bob Melvin's tenure in San Diego was marked by an uneasy relationship with his front office here, and in particular feeling that there was some meddling and a question of where the strategy would come from, whether it would come from the C-suite or whether it would come from the dugout and the coach's office. So to hear the same thing a year later in a different market, makes me wonder which guy's the problem, as opposed to pinning it on AJ like a lot of us did last December.
Well, it's a really, really interesting thought, and I want to be careful to not paint what happened in San Francisco last year as the same. I think what happened in San Diego with A.J. Preller was much more controversial. It was much hotter than what was going on with Bob and Farhan. I think Bob and Farhan, it was just sort of like professional annoyance at times. I think Bob had some ideas about how to structure a team that, when compared to the Padres, doesn't have nearly as much talent. So there's a lot more moving and shaking and tweaking and all of that. And I don't think that they were always eye to eye on that. But I also think they had, by and large, a pretty good professional relationship. I will take that and bounce it back to you guys, though, because I will tell you one thing I heard Giants fans say was they knew that Bob Melvin and A.J. Preller didn't get along. And they knew that the fans pretty much all sided with Bob. And then Bob came up here, and the Giants looked like the Padres did the year before, and the Padres got really good. And so a lot of people were sort of asked the same question that you just did, Craig, which was, wait a minute, were we kind of leaning in the wrong direction the year before?
I think it's more nuanced, Mark. I think that there's a lot of twists and turns and things that went on behind the scenes. And if you parse down everyone, you could probably make a notch in the column of this goes toward AJ and this goes toward Bob and whatnot. But I do think it's a little bit more nuanced than just the kind of the low-hanging fruit of like, hey, this didn't work, this did, which I get fans would look at because of how it's gone with the Giants. But I don't know, Craig, if you feel differently on that.
No, I mean, listen, the results are the results, right? So in the old sense of you're as good as the scoreboard tells you are, or you're as good as the standings say you are, it's been 2 bad years in Bob Melvin's career. And that, 3 is a trend, right? So I think it's a big year in that sense for Bob Melvin to show his value to the Giants organization and why he is such a good dugout leader. Because if it's 3 straight years, then you really, Mark, have to wonder what's going on if he's maybe just lost the touch.
For what it's worth.
And I do. Oh, go ahead, Annie.
Just, talking to players in the clubhouse, I don't hear a lot of negative Bob Melvin comments, for what it's worth.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. And I would say in what was probably not the best first impression with Giants fans, it wasn't bad. I don't think anybody really put it on Bob. Nobody's calling for a new manager a year later or anything like that. They look at it as it's not like the Giants have this amazing lineup or overwhelming talent, which I know was kind of the thought in San Diego the year before. And they do also notice that, the Giants had their first free agent success last offseason, and a lot of the guys who came, Blake Snell, Matt Chapman, were former Bob Melvin guys, and they chose to come play with him again. And so that resonated with people. But as far as the pulling the strings of the lineup and the bullpen and whatnot, I don't know that he had all the power he wanted, and I don't know that he made all the right decisions either. So he'll be heading into a little bit more of a proving ground year, Craig, as you said, this year for sure.
Well, before we let you go, you talk about free agent success and Melvin guys coming home to roost, and that leads me to the next most obvious topic, which is Ha-Seong Kim. We've personally kind of put him on the Giants in our mind for months now, to be honest, Mark. Is that the feeling that he'll be a Giant before too long?
I share the feeling, yes. I really do. In fact, Buster Posey was public this morning here in San Francisco saying that shortstop, solidifying that position, is job number 1 for them this offseason. And I know a lot of Giants fans go, hey, great, then Willy Adames sounds wonderful. Thank you very much for going to get Willy Adames. And I just don't think the Giants are going to do that. I don't think that they're going to win out on that. And I actually don't think philosophically it's what Buster is looking at, because his very next sentence was, we want to solidify shortstop, and we want to be amazing on defense on the left side of the infield. And Ha-Seong Kim, I understand the shoulder issue, and we'll see about the arm and whatnot, but he's a better defensive option than Adames is. And you put him next to Matt Chapman, I think he probably wants to be here. I think they want him to be here. And and that's the kind of price and player that just sort of fits their philosophy. So, yes, I would put the Giants in the favorites chair on Ha-Seong Kim for sure.
Yeah, it's well, like I said, we've kind of mentally resigned ourselves to the press conference coming up and the reunion of Jung-Hoo Lee and Ha-Seong Kim and all the good vibes you guys will have. Korea trip in 2 or 3 years, guaranteed.
Yeah, there's a marketing aspect to that too here in the Bay Area for sure. Jung-Hoo Lee only had about 7 weeks of time to introduce himself to the fans, and he was, for those 7 weeks, he was the most popular Giant. So getting him back, and if they add Ha-Seong Kim, I think that's something that would get the fans going a little bit.
God, you'd almost get me rooting for you guys, but I mean, I'm not going to go that far, but I'll still root for Ha-Seong wherever he goes. Mark, appreciate you, man. Always appreciate you giving us a few minutes here down in San Diego, and I guarantee you that we'll do it again soon.
Anytime, you guys.
Thanks, Mark.
Appreciate you.
Bye, Annie.
Mark Willard, co-host of Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. Great perspective as always.
Yeah, and I think that the Bob Melvin question is going to continue until he does find some success again with the team. And it was just a better fit. I don't think you can deny that with Mike Schilt. And maybe the team needed some more of those more intentional things that he brought in spring training and as far as expectations and whatnot. At least it did work this last year. And it seems like he works better with A.J. Preller. So I don't know that it's such an indictment on Bob Melvin all the time, but it is a better fit for the Padres, at least this last year with Mike Schilt.
Yeah, and like I said to Mark, I mean, listen, from Bob's perspective, he's not going to tell you that his stock is on the rise right now, right?
He's got to shake this narrative that he is part of not being able to get along with the GM. Yeah.
And having teams that kind of float there, a little listless, underperform, stick to 500. Well, that's
he's going to have to shake that, right?
That's your problem, Bob. We'll stick with our problems down here. And come back with another Padres performance review. It's time to bring Manny Machado and the Hot Corner into the office, and we'll break it all down after this. This hour on 97.3 The Fan, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, is football. Hey, San Diego sports fans, head to your local Buffalo Wild Wings. Try their new maple chipotle sauce for a rich maple sweetness and a mild smoky chipotle heat. Or for a bit of a kick, check out the new Cajun sauce for a rich blend of spicy and tangy pepper sauce. Stop by your San Diego B-Dubs or order now for takeout and delivery using Buffalo Wild Wings Go. Annie and Elsten back here with you. Annie Halbern, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprenet, coming to you live on 97.3 FM radio. We are also on the Odyssey app, streaming worldwide, free to download, free to use, AUDACY. We are a podcast. Welcome to everybody listening to us in the future. Chopped up hour by hour, big segments, big interviews knocked out separately as well. And we are on YouTube. Hello to everybody in the YouTube chat. Welcome. Thank you for being there. If you've hit the like button, thank you. If you haven't, please go ahead and smash the old like button for us. It always helps out. Thanks to everybody for being here, being part of November San Diego Sports Talk Radio. In a one-horse town right now, where that horse is in the stable. MLS is on the way.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that track's pretty much right over the top of the baseball season right now.
Yeah. We need the stove to get hotter.
Yeah, we do. Well, do you remember the first month we were on the air? Like, nothing happened.
Yeah.
There was just a freeze, and there was just a single month of literally nothing happened. So I guess we're used to it. We've got a lot stronger bones now from a radio show standpoint. So that part we absolutely love. But, yeah, hey, and not for nothing, if what we heard with Philly a couple weeks ago, if MLS wanted to go to the winter to spring schedule, I'm here for it.
They should think about it because they're just competing with. I mean, I guess they'd be competing with some of football, some of basketball, but still better than a whole season of baseball. I feel like.
I mean, worse conditions for your stadia, right?
Oh,
as
true.
opposed to having summer games,
Yeah,
beautiful summer nights. Yeah, you've
Instead
got
of
winter nights.
Because they're really going to be like parallel to the Padres season.
Pretty
Is
much,
that correct?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Minnesota would probably vote against going to a winter schedule.
Maybe just the West Coast. Well, it'd be a little hard. You got to play the East Coast team still.
Right.
Right. Yeah,
we'll work
I'm
on
not
it.
sure how you work that out
We'll
with
work
Mother
on it.
Nature, at least.
It would be nice from a content standpoint, though.
Yes.
From these chairs, it would be a very nice thing. Okay, so we have been doing periodically Padre performance reviews. We've been going position by position, looking at what happened at that position, the key players in that position, and what the future of the position looks like. Earlier in the tenure of the show, during the offseason, we did catcher. We did first base. We did second base and shortstop. And now we have arrived at the hot corner. It's time for your 2024 Padre performance review, third base. Well, hello, Manny.
Hello, Manny Machado.
Manny Machado has entered the chat. Manny Machado is the third baseman of the San Diego Padres now and forevermore. He is what, in year one of his 10-year extension right now?
That sounds right.
Year
one. He just finished. No. Yeah, he just finished year one
Just finished year one.
of his 10-year extension.
10-year extension. So
I believe.
9 solid years left for Manny Machado here in San Diego, California. No trade clause.
32. He'll
Yes.
be 33 next year.
Yes. Yeah, he's contracted through 2033 with our beloved San Diego Padres.
Okay.
He will make $39,090,909. What a weird number. I'd really like to know why he's going to get paid specifically. Get this. Every year of the extension has this number code in it. Why is it there? The 90909. Is that an area code in Miami? 90909?
No, I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
90909. Literally every year. This year he will be paid $17,090,909. In 2026, $25,090,909.
It's not a zip code. It's a fictional zip code from the TV show Veronica Mars.
Maybe he's a big Veronica Mars
Just
fan.
a huge Veronica
Yes.
Mars fan. Everybody knows.
The only thing close would be 90899, which belongs to the Long Beach.
Stay out of my town.
Or 92009, which belongs to
he's
Seabad.
a Kobe fan. you're
But he was
making a
8th.
reach there. I know, but maybe like the closer to Long Beach.
I think we're making a major reach on this. I think there's
I have
no
no idea. There's
significance
probably
to
like a
it.
tax reason or something. I
It's
don't know
probably,
why.
It could be taxes.
But
100% could be
90909?
taxes.
90909?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm totally joking with all that. So
Okay.
I hope
Well,
no one's taking me seriously.
I'm hung on that. I'm hung up on that. Anyways,
It'd be great to find out he's just a fan of Veronica Mars, though.
I think that'd be great.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
it's his secret sauce. He just has a little locker room shrine.
Veronica
No one has
Mars.
ever seen it. It's back in the weight room.
Yeah, there you go.
909 is an angel number, a spiritual sign that you're on the right path to
Maybe
personal
that's it.
growth and self-realization. It is a sign that your spiritual awakening is underway. Perhaps
Can I tell you something really,
he's-
really
he's
weird?
on his
Maybe
way.
that's it.
Specifically in 2028, he gets paid $39,090,910. 1 year, he gets $1 more.
Well,
There's something dumb for that.
I would love to ask him about this, but he would look at me like,
like
I
an
had
idiot.
7
Yeah.
heads that he was about to just cut off one
Yeah, it's
by
probably
one.
just how it added
And-
up. I don't.
I'm sure it
We're
has to do
done.
with taxes
Yeah,
or
we're
luxury
done.
tax
We're done with that. We're done with
thresholds
that.
or something.
90909. Blank,
good
blank,
old
blank.
Manuel Arturo Machado had a year that was defined by the elbow surgery that he had last offseason, and he was left hanging out to dry by many people early on, which was the wrong move, and which is a move that hopefully fans learn from. Came back to just be an absolute force for the Padres like he usually is, had the second half that he normally does. Drove in more runs in fewer games than he did in this second half than was his MVP season in 2022. Went yards 16 times in the final 61 games of the regular season, set the franchise record for homers. Just Manny was being Manny, not to mention what he does defensively and the plays that he makes that, gosh, I mean, we don't even think a lot of third basemen these days can even make, but he makes them look so easy. So I think that Manny had a year that was challenging for him. I mean, he talked about it a lot. It was a tough year for Manny, and his elbow never stopped bothering him. He had that finger injury that we never really knew about, but we just knew it was bothering him as well. Now he gets an offseason, a full offseason, to have a Manny-type offseason, the type of offseason that he just doesn't have to be recovering from surgery. He just gets to do what he normally does.
Absolutely. I think it was defensively where, in the end, the elbow surgery wound up showing up statistically in Manny's numbers. Because when you really go through the breakdown of his year, you can look at the first half, second half, right? I mean, that's clear as day.
Yeah.
That he was so much more powerful in the second half of the season. In fact, when you go month by month, it's just as clear as day that it was June when his elbow started feeling better. Because in April, he had a slugging percentage of .388. In May, it was .330. And then every month after that, it was over 500. There was a 522, 511, 585, 516. So he had the power from June forward, but the first 2 months of the year, he played while he was recovering. And I'd like to underline, he played 152 games last year for Manny Machado. Given what he was coming back from, that in and of itself should be put under the pro side of the year of Manny Machado. He posted up 152.
Exactly. And those were the numbers I was referencing earlier, were the second half numbers, but you're absolutely right. I mean, you look at his year, and it was, I think, a tough run in the postseason for all these guys. But he did drive in 2 runs in the wild card series against Atlanta. He homered in game 1 of the NLDS. He had that big speech in the dugout, you know. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, the second half is kind of what I was looking at there with the numbers. But overall, Manny had a type of year that I think that, you know, when he talks about looking at the back of the baseball card, it's up there.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, that's the thing, is he can say that, and we have to accept, because it's true, that Manny Machado is a guy who has remarkable consistency in his career. I mean, look at his home run numbers in his Padres tenure, right? Throw out the short season. 32, 28, 32, 30, 29. Okay, so how many homers is Manny going to hit next year? Somewhere between 28 and 32 homers. Like, just write it down. He's going to do that. How about let's look at runs batted in that time. 85, 106, 102, 105, 91. 91, the year that last 2023 that he was held to 138 games because his elbow was deteriorating over the course of the year. He was getting more and more hurt as the year went on. So a lot of 2023, I think now we can look at in retrospect and say, okay, we can see the injury in the stats. The thing was, and you understand it at the time, but people were really ready to pile drive Manny Machado as being a guy who has made, like the Padres made a gigantic mistake by extending Manny Machado, because you looked at 22 and then 23 and then the first 2 months of 24, and you went, oh, look at that. He's 31. He's in decline. He's had 2 straight years going down, so it's going to just keep going down, down, down. And the next thing you know, he's going to be 34, and he's going to be hitting 215 with 12 homers, and we're going to be playing him every day, and we're going to be a nightmare. Blah, 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 blah. Believe me, I saw a lot of this. Like, Manny is just a player in decline. This was a giant mistake. So I'm glad to be able to now look at this in retrospect and go, no, injury, recovery, player has stayed the same.
Yeah, and of course we can't tell the future. We don't know what the crystal ball is going to hold for his age 36, 37, 38 season. But the great thing about Manny is he looks, whenever a new veteran player comes in the clubhouse, he likes it. He likes the older veteran players in terms of showing, hey, they still got it. They can still do what they're doing. The whole narrative of players get old and then players stink, he fights against a lot. And so it means something to him. I think he's a guy who's cut from the cloth, just like Adam Jones is on Ben and Woods, when he talks on Ben and Woods, of you got to give some of these veteran guys respect, the benefit of the doubt. If he goes on, he has 2-3 years that are subpar and he's not working hard and nothing's going on, I think, of course, then you look at something like that and you go, okay, well, this guy's checked out or whatever. But Manny hasn't done that. He had an injury. He recovered from the injury. We don't know what Father Time will have in store for him going forward, and neither does he. But he's going to do his best to make sure he is absolutely ready to fight against that.
Bless you.
Tooth and nail every step of the way, and make sure that he's up to the task. And the thing about Manny, too, that I look at, and I always am so impressed by, is his ability to post. I mean, to his own detriment sometimes, where it's like, Manny, take a day off. Manny, sit down, take a few days off. But in every year practically of his career, his 13-year career, he is up in the 150s, 160s. In 2023, 138 because of the injury. But in general, he is up there in terms of being able to post for practically every game.
And he is continuing to produce the type of numbers that the metrics like as well. I'm just taking a look at Manny's Baseball Savant page, and even in 2024, Manny ranked 93rd percentile in the entire league in exit velocity, 82nd percentile expected slugging, 90% hard hit percentage, 90th percentile, 93rd percentile in bat speed. So those are the things that you really look at for a player when you're tracking long term. Like, is he losing bat speed? Is his bat slowing down? Can he catch up to the pitches anymore? Manny Machado can still catch up to the pitches. He's getting the job done.
Yeah, and you can dislike long contracts. I mean, if you're a fan and you might like Manny and think he's a great player, you might dislike the fact that a team signed a 10-year contract or a 12-year contract. That's a totally different thing. They're two different arguments. So, I mean, I can understand that when fans maybe don't like that part of it. But in terms of what Manny's going to bring and what he has brought in his career, I think that there is a respect factor there of he shows up and he gets it done and he respects the game, the bat speed, the ability to learn what the game is doing at any given moment and how it's changing. He respects that. He likes that part of it. And I think that's why he enjoys other veteran players who also are able to produce later in their careers, because they're smarter. They get smarter as they go. They get more tactful about the game and how they go about situations, and there's something to be respected about that. And I think that the players who do that, they kind of get on a different level of how they view the game.
A couple other things just specific to Manny's 2024 season. Certainly heard a whole lot at the end of the year about how unclutch Manny is, and choker in top situations, and of course that's all baked into getting shut out for 24 straight innings to end your playoff run. Everybody's horrible because of the last 2 games, right? Got it. So just wanted to note that in 2024, in what is categorized as high leverage situations in MLB, Manny Machado hit .321 for the Padres with a .915 OPS. His best numbers.
That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, his best numbers of any of those situations. In fact, his numbers got better the more important it was. He did his worst in low leverage, he did better in medium leverage, and he did his best in high leverage situations for the Padres last year. Here's another one for you. This guy. Guess who Manny Machado did the best against in 2024, talking about clubs. And I'm going to say in general, because you can talk about 3 games and a 1692 OPS against Houston. He did his best against divisional clubs. Against the Diamondbacks, well, that was the worst he did against any of them. And he still hit .278, .316, .500, .816 OPS, which is better than he did for the season as a whole. Against the Dodgers, how about hitting .271, .375, .604, 5 homers against the Dodgers last season, .979 OPS. Against his old pal Bob Melvin and the Giants, .300 hitter, .357, 3 homers, drove in 13 runs against the Giants last year, .917 OPS. And against the Rockies, well, some of our guys couldn't hit the Rockies, but it wasn't Manny. He hit .314, .385 with a .600 slugging, a .985 OPS. So he kicked butt in every one of our divisional series over the course of the year.
Yeah, and that's not to say that we're indicting any of these players from needing to improve. There's always places to improve. I'm sure even in the playoffs, a lot of these players went into the postseason or the offseason thinking, hey, we want to do better in these situations. But those late and close numbers, those clutch numbers, and then the ability, to be able to know that you're playing these teams 13 times every season. And you've got a great chance of being able to show up and show out against them and help your team win the division or get to the top of the division. That's great. I mean, that's what you want. And honestly, I'd be interested. I haven't seen the numbers, but if you have a few of them doing that, we know Fernando loves hitting at Dodger Stadium. We know that certain guys love hitting in different situations in the division. You get a team of those or like a good lineup of those. Jackson Merrill doing what he does in extra innings against the Giants in San Francisco. You get players that are very comfortable in those situations. You've got a good chance of, if you're not contending for the top spot, you're right up there against the Dodgers, at least competing with them and being able to give the division a run for its money as long as you're doing your job against the other teams as well. But I think that's a good trait to have. I mean, you're playing these teams quite a bit throughout the season.
There's no question he didn't have a great series against the Dodgers in the playoffs. Yeah. He was fine against the Braves. He got the homer in inning 1 of game 1. But in inning 9 of game 1, he swung at some Blake Trinan sliders way outside with the tying and winning runs on base to strike out. And that was his pattern through the Dodgers series. I thought Manny tried to do too much in all of those games. He was trying to lift the ball. He was pulling. He was not accepting the idea of just handing it off to the guy behind him. That's why I remember saying to you after game 2 that I hope the lesson Manny learned that night when Jackson Merrill drove in 4 and had a huge game was like, go ahead, pass the torch. If they're going to walk you, let them walk you. Let Jackson drive you in behind. That didn't happen. And, that happens sometimes. Playoff series happen. Bad series happen. Aaron Judge's playoffs just happened. It doesn't change the fact that he's going to be the MVP of the American League. Shohei Ohtani was 2 for 14 in the World Series. Bad series happen for great players. Manny wants to do better. The only thing I would take away from the playoff for Manny is that reminder, that great team first mentality that kept the Padres offense afloat for 6 months. It did go away those last 2 games. And that's what the Padres have to avoid, is that me first, I can do it, pull the ball, lift the ball mentality.
Yeah. There's always places for these guys to improve. And I think for the playoffs, it's hopefully something that they take into the offseason. It's like, what happened there? Could we have done something better? Maybe you walk away and you say, look, we couldn't have. But you think about the meetings that Mike Shildt is having this last week or two that he talked about how he's getting the staff together. And they're having what is it called when you take a dish and you deconstruct it? You deconstruct the season and what could we have done better? You don't wait for spring training to do that because you're already on to the next season once you get to spring training, and you're not really looking backwards at that point except to make things better that you've already looked at, right? Places that you've already looked at where you want to improve. So that's kind of what you hope some of these meetings are that they're having with players that they've already talked about. Mike Schultz already talked about that he's been having, and with coaches where you're deconstructing some of that. And there is the father time thing. I mean, I think it's pretty clear now for a lot of these players past the age 30, 31 season, you got to fight against that. You have to be very proactive against the younger, the speedier, the faster, the better eyesight, whatever it is coming in that has the training on the younger side. But what if you can do that and you can stay at least up to par with your training, and you have the smarts from all the years of baseball that you've played and all the game situations you've seen, you can be really, really dominant.
Manny Machado. Hey, passing grade. Good job, fella. Go ahead and say hi. Pick up your gift basket on the way out. Positive performance review for 2024. No question about it. The guy had a great year. Bad start, coming back from injury, posting up, battling through, still having to, that's the thing about being a major league captain, to being a $30 million player, And
I think it's interesting to note, too, that some of that was taken off of him this year. And I think for Manny, sometimes it's like he feels like he has to do it all. He feels like he has to do everything on the field and off the field. And he's already said, like, look, you're going to see me go out there. You're going to see me post. You're going to see me in game situations. Like, that's where I'm at my best. That's where I'm showing my most leadership out on the field. Not that he won't do it in the clubhouse. He does. He's part of the team meetings and the speeches and all that. But there were other guys that also picked up that torch. Jerkson Profar, Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth. I'm missing some here, but guys that said, even Joe Musgrove, guys that say, okay, we're also taking on that voice from the coaching staff to the rest of the clubhouse in terms of how we want our identity to be. And I think that was helpful.
When we come back, the performance review of the position continues. What about the other guys who were on the hot corner? There were two in particular who were there a good deal of time. Will either of them be with the team again next year? We'll talk about it when we come back. Annie and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. Go for it. Do it. And in Elsten back with you. I like to just subtly reinforce our reads every once in a while. Do it. Just do it. Go ahead. T-Mobile's your friend.
Do it.
Annie, Craig, Braden, here we are. Padres performance review, third base. Manny Machado passed. He was allowed to leave the room. He's good. Now let's bring in two gentlemen who also manned the hot corner occasionally for the Padres, Donovan Solano and Eggy Rosario. Eggy, early in the year, was the player who was stepping in April most of the time on games when Manny was DHing. If you remember, it'd be kind of a play day, DH day, off day, play day, DH day, off day, the first 3 weeks of the season for the Padres. During that time, Eggy Rosario played third base for San Diego. Actually hit lefties well. Overall, just hit pretty well while he was here. And then he got sent down when the Padres signed Donovan Solano. And he never saw the light of day again. Over the course of the year.
And then there was talk about maybe he moves to the outfield. He got maybe a few reps out there every once in a while, maybe worked on it a little bit when he went down to the minors. But it seems like that talk has died down, at least that we can tell. Maybe we'll see it come back up in this offseason. We'll see. But we still don't know a lot about Eggy Rosario. There does seem to be potential there and the ability for him to be a more consistent hitter. And if he was in the lineup more often, maybe he's able to get more traction there and get more of a rhythm, which we know is so difficult when you're in and out of the lineup. But you would think that the Padres are at a somewhat tipping point with him. Like, what are you going to do with him? What's he going to be to this team? Or are you going to move him?
If the Padres believed in Eggy Rosario, they should be building a position for him now. Eggy Rosario has played 3 years in AAA. I mean, he's building himself an El Paso, Chihuahua record book. You know, he's putting his name in the books for the Chihuahuas in terms of home runs and RBI and runs scored and whatnot. This year in El Paso, Eggy Rosario hit .263 with a .361 on-base percentage. He walked 51 times in 95 games, so that's something you're looking for, right? If you're talking about can a guy graduate to the big leagues, yeah, he punched out 88 times, but he walked 51 times. That's actually pretty decent. Hit 21 homers, 24 doubles, 4 triples, drove in 70 runs. He stole 19 bags, was caught 5 times, scored 67 runs. You know, he did fine for El Paso, to be honest, and better than he had done. About the same as he had done his full year there in 2022 before he had some injuries the year after. 22 homers, 81 RBI, 288 average. So, I mean, a power-hitting outfielder.
Right.
Yeah. He's a power-hitting infielder, could play a little outfield in a pinch. He has not established himself as a defensive star. If he was a quality defensive player, he'd be in the big leagues already. I think that's fair to say. He's played the infield. He just hasn't distinguished himself in any of those positions.
Yeah, so I would think that he is either wanting to maybe go somewhere else and have a chance to be more part of a big league team, or they've got some kind of thing that they've been working with him on. Hey, we want to see you hit XYZ, not literally hit these goals, these markers or whatever, and probably some of that is hitting, but here's what we need from you, and then we will take a look at you, I guess, to be more part of the big league organization. But the question there is, well, then how would he be? Like, depending on who they sign back, I guess you could move him around the infield, maybe put him at first or second, or I don't know, depending on who they bring back. But then otherwise, is he a bench player? And would you rather have him over Solano or Peralta? And is that even the right place for him? Is he someone that really we don't know a lot about because you haven't seen him play every day or have that opportunity? He's a little bit of a puzzle.
He really is. And that is a perfect transition to Solano because one of the think pieces that I read kind of gave Eggy Donovan's job and said, well, okay, you know, the Padres could go ahead and give the right-handed bench position to Eggy Rosario, where now he would be required to man the infield, including potentially first base, potentially an outfield corner in a pinch.
Or is he your DH?
Play some DH against lefties? I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, right. Does Eggy have enough offensive value?
That's the question.
To offset what you could get from Donovan Solano. Now, Donovan Solano is a free agent, so the Padres would have to try and re-sign him. In 2022, he made $4.5 million. In 2023, he made $2 million. Last year, he made the major league minimum. Donovan Solano.
Shout out to A.J. Preller and his lieutenants for making the move on Donovan Solano. And, of course, the wonderful story about Donovan Solano calling Victor Rodriguez, thinking it was the number for the guy who does his landscaping.
Yes.
And ended up being able to, parlay that into a job. And it turned out that the Padres were interested in him and able to give him a job. I was looking over some Donovan Solano pieces, seasons in review from previous years, just going down the Google train.
Yeah.
And I see ones from the Giants that are like, this guy was a huge piece of our organization. And he really was the reason that we did well in XYZ. And Donovan Solano has a track record. And you've mentioned this too, Craig. He's got a track record. It's not just like he had one good year this last year. He's a good hitter. He's a hitter that knows a lot about the situations that he's facing. He is a smart hitter, a good hitter with 2 strikes. So to me, I think you find a way to bring Donovan Solano back. They called him the teacher because, of course, he looked like a substitute teacher, especially with his glasses on. But also, he was very forthcoming about what he knows about hitting and able to help some of the younger guys or just guys around him with any tips that he might have. And I think they all try to do that. But I thought it was interesting that they did name him that. It was something that he did often enough in meetings that they felt like he was earning that nickname. So there is a lot to like about Donovan Solano, and I don't know if his price goes up a ton, maybe another million or two, maybe the same. I don't know. I don't know how they view older players.
Well, last year
he's 37 now, right?
He's going to be 37.
He's going to be 37.
He's going to be 37 years old. The last major league contract he signed was 2 years ago for $2 million in Minnesota.
It was a minor league contract, right, this last year.
Yeah, and he delivered 1.7 WAR that year. He delivered 0.9 WAR off the bench for the Padres last year, which is a fine total for 96 games, 309 plate appearances, which is what Donovan gave the San Diego Padres. I agree, Annie. I think signing Donovan Solano it's not a money thing. It's an everything. Like, you want him on this team. He fits. He's part of the line drive mentality of the Padres.
Yeah.
Your line drive mentality is just as good as the players you have to execute it. It is no better than that. You can have Victor Rodriguez show up at Peoria with the best PowerPoint in history, the most inspirational speech, the videos, the video teaching tools, everything in the world. And if you give them to Austin Hedges, all right? He's still going to hit 182. It's because you can't change the player. If you give it to Gary Sanchez, he's still going to strike out 38% of the time because he's Gary Sanchez. Like, you can't change the stripes. So one of the biggest reasons why the Padres became a contact hitting team last year is because you took Trent Grisham out, Jackson Merrill in. Like the worst contact hitter, great contact hitter. And you did that at 3 or 4 spaces. Sanchez is another one. You just Sanchez out, Solano in. Like, you're adding contact to the team. And so I want to keep Solano on this team. 286, 282, 284, 280, 326, 330. Those are the averages Donovan Solano has put up in full seasons every year from 2024 to 2019, counting backwards. The guy's as consistent as they come.
Yeah, and now he's used to having to prove himself pretty much throughout his entire career. But now I'm sure he figures I'm always going to have to get a minor league contract and then prove again that I have a place on the big league roster and fight out whatever young guys are there competing against me or guys that they have on the bubble. So it's not that I think that's a huge part of him. Like, he's always going to compete just like David Peralta will because they're used to that now. But it would be nice, man, it would be nice for a guy like Donovan Solano to get rewarded a little bit, to just kind of be like, hey, we're going to sign you. Maybe it's only 1 year. I don't know. We're going to just make you part of the team as it is.
My bottom line on Eggy Rosario is he's either going to get the 26th spot on the roster, the one that Tyler Wade had last year. He's not as versatile as Tyler Wade. He's not quite as fast. He's not quite as defensively
Where's
versatile.
Tyler? Are we thinking Tyler's coming back?
He's
or?
a free agent,
Okay.
and probably he's on to the next team. He's one of those baseball hobos, here for a good time, not for a long time. Because of options, right? Like a guy as popular as Tyler could get invited back and then get squeezed off the roster the last day because Eggy's out of options and they just don't want to release him to another team.
And it makes you wonder, too, if they will trade Eggy, if they will try to. They don't have a lot of trade options, at least that we can tell.
Yep.
Is he someone that's packaged? He's playing in the Dominican League right now, I think, right?
Yes.
So, has a good showing, maybe shows a few things. And obviously, they'll look at the other positive parts that you mentioned about his career, but maybe they try to package him in some kind of deal.
I'd say 75% he's traded, 25% he's held on to, but Eggy doesn't have a clear path to everyday playing time. And at age 25, he's got to have that. He's just got to have it.
I think he wants it too. If I'm Eggy Rosario, I want the ability to have at least a space to compete for on the big league level. He doesn't really have that. I mean, I guess if you don't bring back Luis Ariz, or you trade him, I guess if you trade him and then maybe, I don't know, you see what I'm saying? Like, you'd have to move things around, juggle it, get creative, okay, but then also kind of allow him the opportunity to compete for that job. And they have so many contracts that are already built in on this Padres roster. Unless you're moving him to the outfield and you don't plan on bringing Jerkson and Profar back and you think he could be a full-time starter and you move him to left field, which I don't think is happening. He's not even working in left field, So I don't think that that's the case. I don't see the clear path for him. And if I'm 25 years old and I think that I have a future, I want to have that. I want to see that somewhere.
Absolutely. So there it is, your third base position in review. Manny's got it for years and years and years to come, literally until he's 40 years old in 2033. Manny Machado is going to be on this team, and he's going to be the third baseman for a good portion of that.
I know. I wonder, when that move would be made over to a DH or a first base. I don't think it'll be for a long time.
I don't think it'll be for a long time. I mean, Beltre kept that position.
Yeah.
He wants to be Beltre.
Yeah, of course.
He wants to be Beltre.
Someone that he's looked up to.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that means he wants to hit 320 when he's 38 years old. I mean, Beltre was really good at the end of his career. Hey, fingers crossed. Let's see if it'll happen. All right, when we come back, some of the trades that might happen this offseason. Can the Padres get their nose in there? We'll talk about it as we continue toward the 12 o'clock Sports Fix. It is Annie and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Don't let AI dictate your fantasy football lineup. Instead, get bite-sized analysis in your ears. Listen to the Sleeper King podcasts, giving you all the fantasy insight you'll need just 20 minutes per day. Every league has a Sleeper King. It should be you. Follow the Sleeper King on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, do that. Annie and Elsten back with you, wrapping up another hour of baseball talk. Jim Bowden, content merchant, click seeker, put out a new list today, new listicle. We love listicles. This one is 15 players he thinks could be traded this offseason. Appreciate the word could, because there's literally nothing hanging on that. All I said is they could be traded. Not that they would or should, just that they could. Just wanted to spin this really fast to find anything of value for the Padres. Number one on his list is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I don't think the Padres are going to come up with a trade for Vlad Jr. Low, though, I would love to see his bat. I don't think it's even possible.
I don't think so either. I think that one's out, but
out.
Yeah.
Garrett Crochet, that's number two on the list. If there's anybody who the Padres have tried to trade for in the last year, it's probably Garrett Crochet. They definitely tried to trade for him at some point last year. That means that both they and the White Sox have a strong working understanding of each other's organizations, and both have parameters on what it would take to get Garrett Crochet. I would bet you money that Salas or DeVries is a must in any Crochet deal. So would you be willing to trade Salas or DeVries to get Garrett Crochet?
I wouldn't. I don't think you do that trade. Look, they're in a position now, the White Sox, where Garrett Crochet ended up being a pitcher that was good through the rest of the season. They didn't let him go many innings. We saw him at Petco Park do a really nice job in I can't remember, 4 or 5 innings that he pitched. You know, he had that pitch count. He's a good pitcher. He's a great pitcher. He could be a great pitcher for all we know in terms of being someone that you could slot into the starting rotation and he could make a big difference. But they're going to ask a lot. They're the White Sox, and they've got this little carrot at the end of their stick that they're going to dangle, and they're going to ask a lot from a team. And so you got to be willing to give up something pretty important to get him.
It would be one of those two guys. It's a guarantee. I mean, you could get him for
I
Merrill straight up.
can't imagine that they don't want something that's like a superstar in the making, or a superstar that already exists.
For sure. For sure. I mean, given where we are, we've lost the ability to make any other kind of trade package. We already did that deal with the White Sox last year to get Dylan Cease. Like, there isn't another deal of that nature left in the farm system. There will be a year or two from now, but there's none left this year. It's either trade Leo, trade Ethan, or you're not going to make a big trade for a superstar player on another team. Different story for something like we were bandying about an hour ago with Jordan Montgomery, because it's a distressed asset with a set cost that's high. Garrett Crochet is affordable, young, and a turbo-fueled left-hander. So don't see it. 209 strikeouts last year. Dang. 146 innings, 209 strikeouts. Wow. It's really good. Only 2 years of team control, by the way. So if you were trading for Garrett Crochet, it's with the understanding that you have to extend him. That extension needs to start in 2 years. And 2 years from now, not for nothing, is when Manny Machado starts making $39,090,909 per year, except 1 year when it goes up to $910. I'm never going to forget that now that we looked that up. 99.09. 99.09. Zach Gallen won't be traded here. Ryan Helsley won't be traded here. Luis Robert Jr., Devin Williams won't be traded here. Wilyer Abreu, no chance. Sonny Gray, $25 million, too expensive, can't do it. Number 9 on this list is a guy I'd be curious about. And that is Yandy Diaz. Yandy Diaz, pretty good hitter. Right-handed first baseman, good, great on-base player, pretty decent glove, okay glove. Literally won the batting title a couple years ago in the American League. He is a talented player. Career on-base percentage of .373 for Yandy Diaz, who's 32 years old. Yeah, in 2023, led the American League with a .330 batting average. I don't know. Five war season in 2023, all the way down to 1.6 last year, but still hit .281. Would you have any interest in a world where they shuffled something to have Yandy Diaz on this team?
I mean, yes. Would you have interest? Yes. what are you giving up, I guess,
Yeah.
for Yandy Diaz? But all-star first baseman, yeah, there would be interest, sure.
It's probably a world where either Jake Cronenworth or Luis Ariz is traded.
Well,
I mean, really, because Diaz would take
yeah,
first base.
exactly. You would need right. That's a world where I guess exactly. Yeah, you're not having one of those players right now. You have on your roster currently. You have Luis Ariz at first base, Jake Cronenworth at second base, or at least a platoon at first base between Luis Ariz and someone else.
Yeah.
I'm not saying get rid of either of those players, but if you're just tossing out players and saying, hey,
Yeah, what if?
this could be a good player or a good fit for your team, yeah, but you're right. You would have to have some place for them to play.
Yeah, he's a guy that would be part of a shuffling of dominoes in order to get here.
And there are rumors that Jake Cronenworth could be someone that you might be able to package. Again, I would not like to see Jake Cronenworth go, but if you are looking at the most realistic of packages that they might be able to get back, he could be someone that is obviously able to play multiple positions. 2 WAR this season, good hitter, has worked on that consistency, not always there with the consistency, but something that he's continuing to work on and can be very good from that left side. So there's potential there.
He's a guy I think we talked about a little bit yesterday too, Annie, Braden and I. I mean, average annual value contract is 11-ish. It's like 11.5 or something like that. I don't have the number right in front of me, but it's 11 point something. So that's a number, but it's not a big number. And at 2 WAR, he justifies that contract.
Yeah, and I will tell you something about Jake Cronenworth. If you are a manager, I've yet to meet a manager that doesn't talk about Jacob Cronenworth and want a guy like that on his team.
Yeah,
he is someone that gets a reputation within baseball for his time at the All-Star game, from his time showing up on the scene of who's that Jake guy, that Jake kid, he got us. He is someone that has gotten a reputation from different managers, and you'll hear them talk about him even off the record. Someone that the type of player that they would like on their team.
Well, maybe someone would like Jake Cronenworth on their team. And the Padres should want Jake Cronenworth on their team as well. But, I mean, they've got him on their team. He's turning 31 next year. You're getting into kind of the nexus of where you could trade him. It's probably now. Like another great year, sure, if he had a great year. But if he just had another year kind of like this, or 88% of what he did this year, then you're talking about, okay, well, is he getting a little too old? Which team is going to want to take him on? Because there's a lot of years at the end of this. He's about to turn 32. He'll be 37 still being paid by somebody.
And I don't think that the Padres want to get rid of him. I think it's more of like, okay, where are we at in terms of all the holes on our roster? Do we need to make these hard decisions of what can we give up? Even though we don't necessarily want to, it's not ideal. Do we have to make a hard decision here? We got to give this guy up in order to get 4 players back that we need for other positions or as trade bait in the minors or whatever. Again, I hope it doesn't happen, but he seems like a contract, like you just mentioned. It doesn't scare you out of at least looking at it.
Yeah, I really think both he and Suarez are 2 guys that you just kind of have to keep your eye on. Not that you want to get rid of them, but you don't have a lot of other places you can make moves on this team. You could move Ariz, you could move Cease, you could,
still a question. Will they move Ariz? Will Ariz be part of this team next year?
Yeah, but you can't move Manny. You can't move Xander. You can't move, you would never move Tatis. Why would you bother? Can't move you. Can't move Joe. There's a lot of pieces you can't move. So only a couple you can. What I know is we can move to this piece, which is a timeout. And at the end of 4 minutes and change, the 12 o'clock Sports Fix is coming your way on 97.3 The Fan. Here we go, halfway point of the show on Thursday, November 14th. It's your 12 o'clock sports fix on Annie and Elsten. We've got all the sports news from local to national and more to get you before you're finished with that sandwich. And we'll start things off with Annie and today's baseball news.
All right, let's start with the Pirates, who are hiring Brent Strom as an assistant pitching coach. The veteran coach was dismissed from the lead pitching role with the Diamondbacks. He had been the top pitching coach for teams for more than a decade, now moving to an assistant role on Derek Shelton's staff. The Angels have agreed to a one-year deal plus a club option for 2026 with free agent infielder Kevin Newman. This is off the announcement that shortstop Zach Neto could miss the start of the 2025 season following shoulder surgery.
Are the Angels only allowed to do all their shopping before Christmas? Is this the deal?
They are on the Black Friday market, and you know what? They are making the most noise. We're talking about the Angels every day in some move they made.
Kyle Hendricks and
it's 2015, guys.
Travis d'Arnaud.
We went back in
Yes.
time. We went back in time.
Wild.
I never turn away from a Rich Hill story. He told Bob Nightingale he is open to returning to Major League Baseball in 2025, which would be his age 45 season. He said, I'm not sure if this will be it or not, or if he'll get the opportunity, but he thinks there's still innings left in the tank, and he would still like to win the World Series, he said.
Well, sure.
So I'm all for a Rich Hill comeback season.
Let's see. He had 3.2 innings this year.
It didn't go as well as he hoped. He did say he wanted to skip the whole first half and only come back in the second half. I feel like he's got to amend that if he wants to be part of the team.
Yeah, 4 games out of the bullpen for Boston, 3 2/3 innings. Rich.
Yeah, Rich.
Yeah, well, so how many more innings are left? One?
He just pitched for some Team USA thing.
Yes, he's part of something. He's
I
a
don't know what
starter,
it
the
is.
Premier 12.
Go
or,
become a pitching coach.
Yeah,
It's time.
I want to see him go one more year.
Go join
And then-
Mark
and then I wanna
Melanson
see him
at
go-
San Diego State.
Yes.
Right.
Be a college pitching coach. A lot more fun.
Oh, I mean, it's kind of hard. You have to rake and do a lot.
It depends what school you're at.
Fair. Good
The
point.
Rockies are open to trading second baseman Brendan Rodgers and right-hander Justin Lawrence, reports
right.
Jeff Passan.
Bring him home.
Uh, The Rockies have generally had a relatively low willingness to make their players available, which was funny because it's the Rockies. But Rodgers is entering his final season of club control, and Lawrence still has 4 years of club control, although he will be turning 30 next month. So if
They
you're
have a low
interested in
willingness
either of those,
to compete.
I know.
Just have a low willingness to do anything.
I don't know why they don't like trading. I swear that GM, there's something going on there. The Tampa Bay Rays will reportedly play their entire 2025 home schedule at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. Steinbrenner Field, due to the damage sustained by Tropicana Field after Hurricane Milton ravaged it in October. I don't know if the official announcement may have already come through. I did this morning, but they did need a home for the 2025 season. The stadium was going to cost repair totals of around $56 million and wouldn't be completed until 2026. I don't know if they're still doing those renovations. I'm not honestly
That's what they're
sure.
talking about. But also, I think it was yesterday I had that the Tampa, there's been a change in the council after the election, and a couple of people who aren't really cool on the Rays 28 thing, 28 stadium. What is
Wait,
that?
is this
This
it's
is the
like
Durham Bulls. That's the AAA affiliate of the Rays saying, guess we won't be needing this anymore. And it's a fake Ray statue they have out in left field.
Oh, my God.
Thinking that they're going to host the games. I love it.
Oh no!
Aw,
They were just trolling. They didn't
okay.
actually think they were going to host the Rays this year. But I
They
think
are
it's-
the Rays AAA team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they're like, guess
Yeah.
we don't be needing this, and it's a photoshopped Ray.
I actually thought that was a
statue.
real Ray statue
No,
that
it's
they had
fake.
put up.
It's totally
Okay.
fake that they put it. Guess we
I
won't
love
be
the troll
needing this
job.
anymore.
That's a great troll job.
One
so
time, and I don't remember which year it was.
Down the line.
Right?
It's AAA.
No,
like,
it's true. I have been to that ballpark. There was one year that I was traveling with the Aztecs, and Ello was on the broadcast, so we could go look it up for Uncle Teddy and Ello in the Aztecs football broadcast over at the station not across the street, but over in Sereno Valley. And we were staying in that Durham Triangle area because they were playing University of North Carolina, and we went to a Durham Bulls game. Stadium's awesome.
I mean, and a humongous metal or whatever
Ray
steel
out there.
Ray statue out there is like
I think that's
I like it.
hilarious. Guess we won't be
it's
needing
fake,
this
but
anymore.
It'd be funny. Yeah.
That'd be amazing if
awesome.
they actually built it.
They're
It's a great minor league
"Aw, I
stadium.
thought you guys
Great
were
one.
coming.
Not for nothing. Me and Ella were in the stands,
Well, I think
eating a hot
that
dog.
Hit the bowl with a steak, right?
crazy hot dog eaters.
They
we
still
were.
got that up there? Hit the bowl, win a steak?
Yeah.
Steinbrenner Field is in Tampa.
It
right?
is.
And it holds 11,000 seats. It's the spring training home of the Yankees and a team's Class A affiliate that, oh my God. It's the Tampa Tarpons, but I almost read that wrong. Okay, the Tampa Tarpons. Anyways, all right.
Okay.
It's
Got
a
it.
Thursday pause. Okay, going on, Diamond Sports Group, which oversees FanDuel Sports Network, formerly Bally Sports Network, formerly Fox Sports Network,
Yes.
Sick.
announced a multi-year deal with Amazon Prime yesterday. It does not mean you can watch your local Diamond FanDuel stream team just by having Prime. No.
Gotta pay extra for
It'll
that.
cost more. It's an add-on subscription for customers living within each team's designated geographic area. So it's essentially their pay-to-stream service through Amazon. So they have a direct streaming service for the teams that want it. And speaking of Diamond, a judge approved their plan this morning to get out of bankruptcy. So they've been given their green light to proceed with their remaining teams and continue on. And it was announced this morning that that MLB will take on the Cincinnati Reds broadcast.
Oh, man.
So they will produce and distribute local games for them as they do with the Padres, Rockies, and Diamondbacks.
Half the league is losing main source of income while the top four continue to have billions of dollars pumped into their teams.
Billions of dollars.
I'm sure this is fair.
It's all going to work out great.
That's great.
As did that baseball report. Worked out great.
And I've just become a fan of the Durham Bulls now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, their
and
Twitter account trolls a lot of people. It's
that was
great.
pretty good.
I have to watch Bull Durham again.
Yes.
You're all fired
Here's
up.
Braden.
I don't have any college football news, so we're just going to have two NFL stories, and it's going to be very quick today.
Okay.
NFL Scouting Combine will remain in Indianapolis for at least 2 more years under an agreement announced Thursday. Indianapolis tourism officials announced a deal with the NFL to host the league's flagship pre-draft event through 2026, superseding a previous agreement that ended with the 2025 Combine. So another year in Indianapolis. Combine has been held in Indy since 1987. Since those early days when the Combine played out with little fanfare, it has evolved into a major event on the NFL calendar. Combine now features hours of live television coverage, and in recent years, fans have been permitted to attend to watch on-field drills at Lucas Oil Stadium. Who attends this? Who attends the draft? Who attends the Combine?
The Combine is a big draw. Well, I mean, now it's like a big draw for like teams and like media.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're
But
scouting
you mean
guys
like who
and stuff,
publicly
but like
attends?
what
Yeah,
fans
I don't
attend
know.
this?
Yeah.
Some guy with a podcast.
Who watches
in
it on
Indianapolis.
television?
Right. I don't watch on television. No.
Fake podcast hosts that are fake football experts going like, you know what? I really like the guy from Penn State. I think the guy should draft
Hey,
him.
number 375 over there.
Yeah, that
is
guy's really- that
bursting
guy's-
between the cones.
That guy's really fast.
The
Wait,
draft now they show like the big like sold out crowd with the concert and then whatever, but it's probably people who live there getting tickets to, go.
who
come to the draft.
attends? Like, who has the time? Who is like, you know what? I'm gonna go sit there and watch
You'd
the
be
NFL
surprised,
draft
Braden.
players.
You'd
I
be
know.
surprised.
I mean, there's a lot of crazy people out there, but the only one that made any sense to me was Nashville because it was right on Broadway, and you just go to the bars and go in and out, and there's something going on outside.
I loved going to Indianapolis for the Combine. I went a few times and it was fun. I mean, that's like what they're known for, and everybody goes to that street there, that downtown area there.
I think it'd be great as a media member where you get to talk with other media members and
Right.
stoke the fires. It's like
and
the winter
it's also
meetings.
Nothing happens. It's like you're just
Right.
in this media room listening to the soon-to-be, prospects give.
It's like the
give
winter
interviews.
meetings for baseball. Like if you're a fan, why would you go?
Yeah.
But if you're a media member, it's like, okay, let's talk to this person, let's talk to
You
that
just
point,
have
see
to
what's
go,
going
right.
on. Like it makes a lot more sense. But for like a fan, why would you go?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Because I remember fans going out to the winter meetings here and being like, why are you here? Just to see guys walking through. It's like you're not allowed into any of the areas where you could actually like talk to people.
The interesting thing about the Combine is, and the draft, honestly, but the Combine is like, it was a nothing burger. I mean, it was scouts sitting in a stadium. It was nothing, and they monetized the crap out of this thing, and now it's one of their big draws. That's the NFL for you. That's why they're a lesson in that.
On other stories that people don't care about, but they're stories nonetheless. New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers waits for Craig's sigh. There you go. Myron, in one of the worst statistical seasons of his legendary career, wants to play in 2025.
Sure.
I think so. Yeah,
He
I
and
said
Rich Hill should
Wednesday.
get together.
19 days shy of his 41st birthday. It wasn't a resounding yes, perhaps because he knows that organizational changes in the offseason could impact his decision. Rodgers, who said last offseason that he hopes to play, quote, 2 or 3 more or 4 more years, indicated the team's disappointing season hasn't changed his feelings. Not really, not for the negative, he said. Not really, no. So Rodgers, who's coming back from Achilles surgery this year, says he's open to playing next year. I think so. Yeah.
Sure.
Anybody care?
No.
No. Wait for the Craig sigh.
I mean, hey, any team that wants to lose and have drama, Aaron Rodgers is perfect. He'll give you drama. He'll be on Pat McAfee's show every week.
Every week.
Every week.
He'll bring in his entire receiving crew that he's ever had. I'm surprised Randall Cobb still hasn't gotten a call yet.
Did you see his thing this week?
No.
I shouldn't even waste my time.
Here you are wasting it.
I am. Here I am. So sorry. So Aaron Rodgers was on Pat McAfee's show.
Okay.
And they started talking about the Monday Night Football game. And he blithely tossed off a stat that Jared Goff.
Oh, I saw this.
That Jared Goff was 6-0 in games where he threw 4 or more interceptions. And then after hearing it, the person who had put it on Twitter was like,
I literally
made that up laying on my bed watching the game.
It was another lesson to what now is the information spread. You can't. You have to like fact check, right? Yeah, or if you're gonna just take a tweet and run with it or a stat, like no, you better check that. Like
remember, this is the guy who did his own research. Remember, he was immunized.
Yeah.
He did his own research.
Yeah, it's scary though because
his research is going on Twitter and seeing whatever pops up and then believing it.
Yeah, and
Brilliant.
it spreads quickly. Like and a lot of times, like you can fall. I mean, how many times? Remember before there were check marks, or how many times I got duped by like the fake Adam Schefter one year, or the what I mean? Like, but at least you could kind of sift through that.
You could click on the profile and be like, all right, well, at least here he's verified and all this other stuff.
This is also why journalism matters.
And then they turned it where you could buy the check mark, but you couldn't have it if you were actually formally verified.
That's how I lost my check mark.
And then it all went to hell.
But now it became
What do
cool
you know?
to not have the check mark, so.
Yeah, I don't have it now.
You know what else is cool? Just not being on the platform. That's cool.
Scraby has.
Okay, Blue Sky guy.
Scraby
I
has a check mark.
just signed up yesterday. It seems great. It's great so far.
Where's the meme of Bushimi walking in? Hello, my fellow kids. That's Craig.
Hi, guys. I'm here on Blue Sky. How are you?
James and all his buddies just deleted their account immediately.
Received a warm welcome.
That's right.
On Blue Sky. Everyone's happy to see me.
Be ready for all your Fortnite memes.
Well, I'm easy,
you ever play Fortnite with your son?
No.
You can't do it?
I don't know.
Are you worried that James just kick your ass?
I don't care about winning and losing.
It's about the friends we made along the way.
Correct.
I think that'd be a great bit, watching Craig play Fortnite on a stream, just to see what he would be like.
Okay, let's set up the Twitch.
I think we got to set it up.
Do you know how to play Fortnite?
With a joystick, I'm sure.
Oh, a better idea.
A controller.
I mean,
We'll give James a headset like he's a coach, and he'll be coaching Craig
me?
as he plays Fortnite.
Brilliant.
Do
It's
you
a great
think?
idea.
Do you think Craig can finish in the top 50?
Let's find out if this was the part of the show that James actually was watching, seeing as he's home from school today.
Hey, you know what? I think
get
we're onto
feedback
something
on
here.
this, I
We
will
got
know.
father-son bonding time. We got great content. We got a 50-year-old man playing a video game with a bunch of children. This is great.
Yeah. Maybe you got to meet him where he's at. You know what
I
I'm
think
saying?
this would be great. And then I think the winner should take on Ello.
Wow.
Ello and Craig
Does Ello
playing
know how to play
Fortnite.
Fortnite?
No, that'd be
Oh.
hilarious. Let's just, and you know what? Throw Ben in there too. I think that'd be great content.
Okay, I could see this.
You actually really might be onto something.
I was onto something yesterday too with the show jumble too. I'm just chock full of ideas this week.
No, that was a good idea. I can't believe Adam hasn't already brought it up like it was his idea.
I don't
in
even know
due
what
time,
happened.
Craig.
Oh, so this was an Ask Us Anything. We're just derailing the segment. I do have a report, I promise to God. We had an Ask Us Anything, and someone called with a weird question that we then changed because the question was like trading someone off the show.
They asked Craig, who would you trade off the show, me or you, Annie, and who would you want to get instead?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So
Was
since
this
you
someone
were,
you know?
No.
Oh, okay.
Since,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I do or don't. It was
so
just
since you
random
weren't there, we
caller.
traded your ass.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, because you weren't sitting
not
there.
A surprise.
We
So I
traded you
wasn't
the
gonna-
Padres
I wasn't
pregame
going to
show
trade the
for
person
Sam.
sitting next to me.
That's
but
right.
For Sam?
Yeah,
Yes. So
but
Sam's on our show now, and you got the
I'm
pre and
sure
post.
many people would
you
love
get
that
the pre and
trade,
post.
so.
I mean, you might enjoy the pre and post game show. But the
Traded
idea
your
that
ass.
it turned into was a Freaky Friday, where all the shows got jumbled up, so that like everyone still worked. But everyone was on a different show.
Like I would be with Paul on the morning show.
Potentially, right?
Okay.
Like, or
You couldn't have.
yeah,
You
would
couldn't
either
have
be
two
on the morning or
producers on the
afternoon
same show, and you couldn't have two people from the same time slot on.
Right.
So like it would be like Annie, Paul, and Tony or something.
Right. Yeah, and then
I think you would. I could see. Actually, I think that would be kind of fun to do one day.
That's-
Although I don't
that's
know how
what
the
I said.
other all the other shows would feel. I think that'd be kind of fun to do one day.
Just one
I
day?
also think that you okay. Do it every Friday.
I don't want to do it every Friday. Let's not get carried away.
no, let's not do it every Friday.
You're
not
gonna, you're gonna get hit with objections of people having certain things to do at
yeah,
certain
do
times of the
it
day.
one time in the
One
off season.
time
Yeah.
in February when nobody's got
Right.
anything else going
One
on
time in the
before
off-season.
spring training
I
starts.
am surprised that you didn't just Survivor me off the island.
Just vote you out?
completely out of the building.
Just
right?
done.
No, we had
Key card
chance.
doesn't work
we had
anymore.
that was another great idea. We had the NBA Bubble Survivor Edition that we
that was
decided
true
to do
too.
instead.
But listen, if you had been here and Marchese was there, we would have been trading Braden's ass.
That's
I
right.
mean, it was
100%.
very simple room
Although-
politics.
Although if Adam was
Quite
on
a
the show, they'd
question
probably
for
trade
this
Adam.
person to call in.
Yeah, it was kind of a
I would like
jerkwad
you to
question,
call
I
back and out yourself.
In Craig's
later
defense,
today.
immediately he said, "I will not be doing that."
Yeah.
he said, and
very
then
first
I
thing
was
I
like,
said.
"Well, we might as well trade Annie's ass because she's not here today."
Yeah, so that's how it worked. Yeah,
stuff,
but I
good
said I
stuff.
wouldn't do anything. I said hold.
And if Craig wasn't
Keep the
there,
show
I would've-
as is.
I would have traded Craig.
Yeah, I would be gone.
That's right.
I'd be toast. I know.
100%.
I want this person to call back.
Yesterday's news is what I'd
Yeah.
be. I don't know who'd you trade me for though. Ben? The Ben and Annie
I like
show?
more the Freaky Friday switcheroo.
Yeah, see, it'd be fun.
Once,
One
once.
day, busman's
Yeah.
holiday, like, oh man, I got to wake up early, but hey, I'm out of here at 10. And then the other crew comes in and they're all confused and everyone wears each other's clothing. It'll be fun. Oh, wait, too
okay.
far?
Yeah,
Too
wait,
far.
wait a second.
Hold on.
Why did you make it weird?
So, on to the local sports report. San Diego Gulls last night played in San Jose. Didn't work out. They lost 2-1 to the Barracuda. Gulls are now 4-9 on the season. They will host Bakersfield Saturday night at Pechanga Arena. They've basically been on the road the whole year so far, but 4-9 so far this season. San Diego Clippers host the Valley Suns tonight. 7 p.m. at Front Wave Arena. I just looked it up. Plenty of seats available. If you want to go check it out, frontwavearena.com. And a note from San Diego Wave FC. The Wave led the National Women's Soccer League in attendance once again this year. Average of 19,575 fans
Good for them.
per match. And in fact, the Wave would like to let you know, they drew the second best for any women's soccer club in the world.
Good for San Diego fans getting out there.
And that was what they put out. San Diego is a football town. Only the little old town of London, England, did better for the Arsenal women's team, which drew just under 30,000 fans per match. Incredible for them, but you're talking about the absolute pinnacle of the universe of soccer, London, and you're talking about San Diego, the next pinnacle of soccer. And yes, Adam in the chat, the Wave did outdraw the Aztecs. Again, they outdrew them again. On to the NBA. What a night it was in the association last night. It was not an NBA Cup night. That was Tuesday. That will be Friday. However, the action was fast and furious last night with some season record-setting performances. Best performance of the year so far, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 59 points, including 16 of 17 free throws. My fantasy team would like to thank him for that. Added 14 rebounds as the Bucks beat the Pistons in overtime, 127-120. Speaking of great games, Bulls edged the Knicks 124-123, despite 46 from Karl Anthony Towns. And the Spurs outscored the Wizards 139-130, in which Victor Wembanyama, 50 points, a new career high. 50 for Wemby. And that 7'4" dude hit 8 3-pointers in the game. It's just crazy. Because when he's lobbing it out, it's like he's shooting it from 13 feet high. And then it just drops into the zone. Also last night, the Cavaliers improved to 13-0. They are just the 6th team in the history of the NBA to start a season with 13 straight wins. Cavaliers over the Sixers, 114-106. Lakers beat the Grizzlies 128-123 within LeBron James. 35 points, 14 assists, 12 rebounds, his 3rd straight triple-double. He is the oldest player in NBA history to have 3 straight triple-doubles. Rockets beat the Clippers 111-103 last night. Both local teams in action in the NHL. By local, I mean SoCal. Both teams scored exactly 2 goals. It was not enough for either. Golden Knights over the Ducks 3-2. Avalanche over the Kings 4-2. And that's it for the fix.
Also, did you see Lindsey Vonn coming out of retirement?
At age what?
I don't.
40,
I'm surprised she went into retirement because her knee was like beyond repair to.
Yes.
Hold up against the ski, the incredible Olympic skiing she was doing.
I didn't even know she was still skiing.
She wasn't. She went into retirement.
That's what I thought.
And now she's like, she's ending her retirement and rejoining the U.S. ski team.
Yeah, she's 40 years old.
40, but like I'm surprised that she said 7 months ago she had right knee replacement surgery. 10 weeks later she resumed skiing and was startled to be pain-free.
Huh.
How about that?
Hey, you know what? Great for her.
Yeah.
It's been years before she's had that.
Yeah.
Her, Aaron Rodgers, they're all backing Rich Hill today.
Yes, that's right. It's developments in what's available to you.
It's the 40-year-old
on these surgery front.
40-year-old resurgence.
I love it.
They're going to create a 3-on-3 team.
There you
Aaron
go.
Rodgers, Lindsey Vonn, and Rich Hill.
What a group that would
Just
be.
one more for pickleball. We're all set. There's your 12 o'clock sports fix for Thursday, November 14th, 2024. More Annie and Elsten on the other side at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Hey, did you know you can listen to 97.3 The Fan with your smart speaker? Well, you can, you know. Now you know. Just ask your smart speaker. Say, hey, device, play 97.3 The Fan. And then it will do that.
Do it.
It's programmed to do it. It's
Do it.
compelled. Even if it doesn't want to, it has to. It's power. Exhibit the power. Tell that thing. You tell it. You tell it to play 97.3 The Fan. Oh, yeah. Okay, Annie and Elsten. We got the All-Star Celebrity Panel ready to come in. Today we will have On the Reg Greg from Quezon, and we will have Matt Scraby. And poor Adam.
What happened to Adam? Did you have to vote him off?
I mean, no, there's no vote.
We traded him.
Yeah,
Traded him.
he's been moved.
Isn't he got the?
He's on loan.
Isn't he at USD right now?
He's on loan to
Oh, is he at
Ajax.
USD
He
for
probably
He's at the
is.
round table.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's at the luncheon.
wow. Okay, very
Being
swanky. Adam's
fancy.
being part of the media circle right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's one thing.
Making his rounds.
That's-
He does it.
Yeah.
And he should. He's our brand manager, so he needs to
That's
be
right.
out there representing the brand.
He's managing our brand.
He's doing a good job of it.
Well, excited to have, I'll always enjoy having Adam on the match game, but Scraby and Greg lend their own particular hilariousness
I agree.
to the show. So
They
it'll be
are-
fun to have them.
There are regular Brett Summers and Charles Nelson Riley together, poking fun at each other on the top row of the match game. That is coming up next segment. Couple more baseball hot takes here. I already kind of spelled out the NBA story during the fix. NBA was good last night. NBA is good. NBA is good. The dominant story you will hear when national people talk about the NBA is they will say the ratings are bad, and so the NBA is bad. And why shouldn't it be more this? Why shouldn't it be more that? And I do think a couple more three-pointers are being shot than... Well, for some teams, I don't enjoy necessarily watching the Celtics drive, kick, swing, shoot, drive, kick, swing, shoot every single possession. But you know what? There's plenty of other teams that don't do that. And Giannis and the Bucks are one of those. He was going inside over and over again or shooting mid-range jumpers and putting 59 on the board. Anyways, NBA is good. They'll be back on Friday with more NBA Cup games, and the courts will be different, and the teams will be in different uniforms, and they're going to be playing harder, and the bad teams that normally don't even show up on a Wednesday or a Friday night, they all show up for the NBA Cup games and give it their go, and so the scores are high, the scores are close. Like, I really think it's been a tremendous innovation for the league. I really do. But that's not what we're going to talk about. I'm just done with that. That's it. There was my minute monologue.
We talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, we did. Minute monologue in the NBA. NBA good. I want to thank Anthony Castrovins, Click Merchant, looking for, and he had some bold takes for the offseason. One of them actually, though, made a lot of sense to me, and I know we're not Yankees radio, but his first bold, he had 7 hot stove bold takes for a sizzling offseason. Sizzling. Good headline writing. Hot take number 1. The Yankees might be better off without Juan Soto.
Who's writing this?
Anthony Castrovins, MLB.com.
Okay.
MLB.com.
The Yankees might be better off without Juan Soto.
Okay,
all right.
here's the logic. The statement sounds ridiculous. The logic, follow along.
That's right. It's a hot take.
One of the big Yankees' problems is defense. If you sign Juan Soto long term, Juan Soto's going to be your right fielder for several years to come. And with Giancarlo Stanton already a guaranteed DH locked in on the team, that means Stanton's locked, Soto's locked, and that means Aaron Judge is locked as your center fielder. And as a 33-year-old center fielder who's 6'7", 280 pounds, the idea from the writer is the Yankees need to get Judge out of center field. That they would be a much more complete, better defensive team if Judge is in a corner as opposed to being stuck in center field. So here's what he wrote. He said, quote, just spitballing here, but what if instead of Judge in center and Soto in right, you could have Judge in right, Jazz Chisholm in center, because he's already on the team, right? Played center for the Marlins before coming back to the infield. Throw Jazz in center, Alex Bregman, free agent, at third base, Willie Adames at second base, Christian Walker at first base. Those 3 free agents combined wouldn't make 2/3 of what Juan Soto is going to make by himself. So the Yankees could decline Soto, let Soto go to the Mets, let the Mets pay top dollar for Soto, spread the Soto money around, get a Gold Glove first baseman in Christian Walker, get Willie Adames playing second base, a shortstop playing second, so somebody really strong, Alex Bregman, Gold Glover at third base, and throw Jazz with all the speed in the world out in center field. Now they're a way better defensive team, and they're probably a deeper team overall.
I can see this argument. I also understand that argument of Judge needs to get out of center field.
Yeah.
I mean, that one does kind of make sense. So you do limit your options there then.
Yeah, I mean, locking in Judge Soto Stanton, I mean, that's a great middle of the order. Mm-hmm. But that's on offense. On defense, it's kind of a hot mess, those three guys. And I know Juan Soto was a Gold Glove finalist, but that's just as big a joke as that was back in 2022 when he was a Gold Glove finalist. Juan Soto is good for 8 baffling plays per year in the outfield, and he does not have elite defensive instincts. I think that really showed up in the World Series on a couple of key plays when he was a little bit slow getting the ball in from the outfield. Hey, how wild would it be if Juan, and it's quite a realistic possibility, that Juan Soto, a guy who is a first ballot Hall of Famer guaranteed, it's going to be an over 100 WAR player by the time his career is over. Over 100 WAR. He's going to have one of the highest, just presuming health and continuing at his current pace. He's going to set the all-time Major League record for walks, guaranteed. He'll be one of the highest run scorers in the history of the game. He'll hit over 600 home runs in his career, almost guaranteed that he'll get to numbers like that. Probably over 2,000 hits. And he could play on 4 teams in 5 years. 4 teams in 5 years for one of the greatest players in the history of the game.
Hey, the money, right? I mean, money is a deterrent for some.
It's really mind-boggling. I mean, who else has ever had anything even approaching a career path like that with the talent level of Juan Soto, right?
I think it'd be interesting. I've heard the rumors that the Nationals might be interested in bringing him back, and yeah, I think he'd be interested in that as well. Yeah, I get what you're saying. When you look, we have the conversation about Luis Ariz. Why do teams trade him? That's much different than Juan Soto and why you would trade him. But you look at the Padres. I don't think the Padres wanted to. I think it was just that arbitration price tag for them of that $30 million that he was going to cost or whatever last year. That they were like, let's just go ahead and get the players we need with moving him. And I think Juan Soto, clearly with this contract that he wants to get, he's tired of being traded. He would like to stick with a team, right? And this will be it for him. I don't think he enjoyed the trades. I don't think he ever thought he was going to leave the Nationals when he did. And when you look at the type of player like that, that's a reasonable thought. Why would they get rid of me?
I do think, though, that would be a way smarter plan for the Yankees overall. I think that they would be a more successful team overall. However, 3 years from now, they wouldn't have a 29-year-old Juan Soto on their team. 3 years from now, they'd have an over-the-hill Alex Bregman, an over-the-hill Christian Walker. Well, Willie Adames is still in his prime, but 32 years old.
And Juan Soto is like the epitome of what the Padres did and what the Nationals did. And, getting as much as you can for a guy that you figure is going to walk anyways, and you know what kind of agent Scott Boras is. So you get what you can when you can.
It's kind of a wild thought, but the more I thought about it, that's why I thought I would bring it to the show. Like, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, if I was a Yankees fan, it was a Yankees show, I'd probably actually make that argument.
Yeah.
Why not? Three guys.
Also, by the way, Yankees, you need to work on your defense. Your defense is so bad. Your fundamentals are not good.
Not good.
So no matter what's happening offensively, if you want to win that championship that you want to win, you're going to have a better defensive showing than you did in the playoffs in the World Series.
Run the bases like a bunch of drunks.
That's right. And John Sterling's going to shut off his gifted TV to him when he's sitting there next season looking at that going, not this again.
Susan, I couldn't even watch your games. The base running's so bad.
Do you think if you're John Sterling, you would, and you aren't calling the games, like will you sit on the couch and will you call him in your head? Like will you call him to your cat? Will you continue to just do that naturally?
I think John Sterling, the answer is no, because he's old enough and he's done it enough. And like when I listened to him this World Series, it really sounded like, well, Susan, I'm pretty much over this crap.
That's what I loved about him. But yeah, I agree. Maybe he doesn't feel like, maybe once the door shuts, he doesn't feel like he needs to. It's just going to spill out of him still.
So the Yankees lost again, and I get to leave and go right back home. Post-game show's next.
I think he's like, you guys couldn't do it for me. Like you guys couldn't give me this. It wasn't even competitive.
Sorry. The Yankees blow it again. He thought he had it loaded for Game 5. Well, it is high. It is far. It is.
He almost did. He almost at least had more games left of the World Series.
One more.
But nope.
Jerks. Last time I'm ever a Yankees fan. I dabbled with it practically this segment, arguing for a better course of action from. I don't care what you do. Go sign Soto. Go sign Soto for $7,000 billion zillion and be locked into a terrible defense for the next decade. Fine by me. Could care less. Is that right?
Is that right? I Need Money? Is Dave Sims?
Dave Sims
Who
taking
took
over for John
him last year when he retired the first time?
Some random dude.
Oh, it was?
I thought they brought over the Spanish language guy and had him announce.
Oh, he's right. Look, New York Post. Look at you. I Need Money in the chat. The Yankees are closing in on a man to replace the legendary John Sterling. TV announcer Dave Sims is nearing a deal.
Wow.
Mariners TV announcer Dave Sims.
Big loss for Seattle.
Yeah.
Huge loss for Seattle.
To become the new play-by-play broadcaster on Yankees
John
games.
Heyman's got it too.
So he'll be moving from TV to radio.
Wow.
But for the Yankees.
But it's for the Yankees.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for you, Dave Sims.
I'm sure he's getting paid more too.
Hey, get this. It would be something of a full circle moment for the 71-year-old Sims, who was a midday sports talk host on WFAN with Ed Coleman from 1989 to 1993. How about that?
Dave Sims is 71?
I didn't realize he was 71 either.
I didn't know that.
71. I mean, go ahead. Go be the voice of the
Sterling
Yankees.
was 86. Yeah, you don't turn that down. Of course not.
I mean,
you don't turn that down, right?
The thing is, he's revered in Seattle. He's been there for a long time, and like he's one of those guys that could be a legacy Seattle.
Really, really, really good at his job.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Where's he
if
from?
the Yankees come calling, like how do you ever say no?
He was born in Philadelphia, and
all right, well,
yeah,
okay,
good on him.
And worked at WFAN in the late '80s. So
he's back. All right, we got to take our time out. When we come back, it is time to play the match game. I told you we've assembled the All-Star Celebrity Panel. Now all we need is to assemble 2 contestants on the line. 833-288-0973 is our number. Up for grabs today. Whoever wins the match game will be qualified to win our grand prize. 2-night stay at Westgate, Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Solo Motown, and a $150 food and beverage credit. Tickets at WestgateResorts.com. So great Vegas getaway prize. We just need 2 people to get on the line and play the match game with us. 833-288-0973 is our number. 833-288-0973. Let's get 2 people screened and lined up. We're going to assemble the panel next, and when we come back, it's match game time on The Fan. The Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino features newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million room renovations. Home of legendary Vegas fun, the award-winning Soul of Motown is a high-energy concert-style musical tribute celebrating Motown legends, a must-see show during your Las Vegas vacation getaway. Tickets at WestgateResorts.com. Right now, 2 people online with a chance to be qualified for our end-of-the-month grand prize drawing for a 2-night stay at Westgate, 2 tickets to Soul of Motown, and a $150 food and beverage credit. In order to win, they're going to have to play the match game. Get ready to match the stars. Annie Heilbrunn.
Hello.
Matt Scraby.
Hello.
On the reg, Greg.
Go Birds.
I don't think
Go
your mic's on.
Birds. There we go.
Braden Soprenin.
What's up?
And I'm your host, Gene Rayburn. Welcome to Match Game 97-3. This is where you get the chance to win big money and prizes by matching the stars. And again, today's big prize, a 2-night stay at Westgate Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Soul of Motown, $150 food and beverage credit. If you win today, you will be in the end of the month drawing to get that prize. We've got 2 folks on the line looking to do battle. First up, it's Don in Escondido. Hi, Don. Welcome to the match game.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we play.
My name's Don. I'm from Escondido. Recently married to an amazing woman that makes me a better person.
I
Okay.
love that.
Oh, my goodness. I believe in love again. That's a new marriage.
That's a good one. That's a good introduction.
That's the newlywed talking right there. Okay.
That's
All right, Don. Well, we do wish you luck, but we've got another person with a D start to his name who's ready to take you down. That is Dominic.
Us.
Dominic in Chula Vista. Hello. The letter D. Hello, Dominic. Welcome to the match game.
Hello, thanks for having me.
It is our pleasure. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
It'd be hard to top that one, but I'm a student at San Diego State. I have a beautiful wife and a 2-year-old son.
Amazing.
There we
This
go.
is great.
What a wholesome show today.
I know. I was about
love
to say
this,
wholesome
yes.
Thursdays.
We
on
love
the
you
fan.
both. Only one of you will win. This is the match game. Here's how it's going to work. It's going to be played in 2 rounds. Each of you will receive 1 prompt per round. When it is your turn, I'm going to read the prompt to our panel. You, the contestant, will stay quiet. You'll be thinking of your answer while they are writing down theirs. Then I'll come back to you, read the same prompt to you. You'll give me your answer. We'll go around the panel and compare. Every match you get is worth a point. And at the end of 2 rounds and potentially a tiebreaker, whoever has the most points is in the hopper. All right, Don, you called in first. That makes you contestant number 1. So in round 1, you get the option. Would you like question A or would you like question B?
We'll go with question B.
Question B it is. As we begin, a quick reminder to all of our listeners and especially to our bosses and lawyers that all contestants, all people, characters that appear inside the Match Game 97-3 questions are entirely fictitious, and any resemblance they have to people living or dead is 100% coincidental. Now, yes?
Can I also say that I love my wife and children? Can I get that in before we start also, while we're being wholesome?
It's kind of like
I think you should just give us both the prize already.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
this.
We'll
It's kind
allow
of like
it.
you're piggybacking on this. Like
We'll allow it.
You're only thinking of it because they said it.
Yeah, that's true.
And somebody wants to
Kinda
watch the
cheap.
Eagles game tonight.
Right. You only care about the Eagles.
Man, this
Uh,
Eagles fan. Only
Yeah,
a
good
fan
point.
when
They've
they're
decided
pro.
you can't do it.
That's right.
You're not,
You cannot do
It's
that.
too late.
I won't do it then.
Yeah,
We were
don't
saying
do
that.
it. All right. Let's just do the game instead. Here we go.
Okay.
You said B, right, Don?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to put you back on hold so you don't blurt out an answer. And here we go. Round 1, question B. Panelists lock in. Harvey the pickpocket doesn't use his hands. He picks their pockets with his blank. Harvey the pickpocket doesn't use his hands. He picks their pockets with his blank.
First thing that came to mind.
Uh-oh.
Locked.
Locked in.
All right. Just need Andy.
Okay. Locked.
All right. Back to you, Don. It is your turn. Harvey the pickpocket. He doesn't use his hands. He picks their pockets with his...
This was a family show. I mean, how do I say this, appropriately?
I mean, don't pick the first thing you thought of.
Or call it a churro if you did.
Am I allowed to say it on the radio or not?
Probably not.
You
I
can say
would say
churro.
no.
You
I
can
would
say
err-
churro. That's about it. Churro is what we'll accept. If that's where
Okay,
you're going.
sure. With this churro.
With this churro. The panelists are all looking at one another.
Cinnamon and
I can't
sugar
believe I
swirled
said that.
over
I only
everybody.
said that because I was afraid he was going to say it.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
now,
anyways.
and then it turns out she wrote it down.
No, I didn't. I wrote down
Toes.
toes.
Okay. You wrote down
Toes.
toes.
Real quick, I would
Which
like to
toe are you
just,
talking about?
I would like to just say I love my dog.
Yeah.
So
Nobody
that's what we're
cares.
doing
dude.
right
Say I
now.
love my
Put the
mom.
fries
I
in the
said
bag,
teeth.
buddy.
My dad.
Teeth.
We
Good
love
answer.
Lucky.
Good answer. Teeth. Toes. Good
Also,
answer.
teeth.
Teeth.
Please
Great
don't bring
answer.
down churro,
I
Braden.
put his pick.
Pick.
What
Yeah,
is
his
that?
pickpocket. It's his pick.
It's his.
Also, I feel like that's like a churro.
That is a churro.
That is a
Basically.
churro.
Oh,
I
that's
give
a
him a
churro.
point.
I
Yeah.
thought maybe
You
had
get
it.
a point.
Pick.
John, I did not think you were going to get a point for that. I'm going to be honest.
I- I-
Oh,
Congratulations.
come on. Come on.
pickpocket
I
with
mean,
his pick.
I didn't want.
Yeah, no,
I didn't want to say it, but I thought they were all sick puppies too.
Well, Braden was. You got
There
one.
you go.
Braden was a sick puppy.
It's
That's
creative.
pretty
It
good.
was so creative. Went over everybody's head.
Pretty good. All right, you're back on hold, Don. Dominic, it's your turn. I'm going to put you on hold. Here we go. Round one, question A. Panelists, let's go. At the wedding, the groom didn't have a car, so the guests painted "Just Married" on his blank. Here we go
Wait,
again. At the wedding, the groom didn't have a car, so the guests painted "Just Married" on his blank instead. Because, see, back in the day, the newlyweds would drive off in a car.
And you would throw rice at them.
The guests would paint "Just Married" on the back of the car.
That was for. I'm sure both of our contestants are happily married. They
Attach
understand this question.
String, cans
Yes.
on strings on the
Yes.
back, and then rattle off.
Yes, I'm locked in.
Oh, amazing.
No, I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, I got
It
it.
used to be a thing.
It did.
Remember, all these questions come directly from Match Game 76.
I got an answer.
There's sometimes a 1976
Bit dated.
aura to it. I try to modernize it occasionally.
aura.
All right, everyone's got an answer. So, Dominic, we come to you now, my friend. At the wedding, the groom didn't have a car, so the guests painted "Just Married" on his
Let's go with bike.
I
bike.
just erased bike. I have horse and buggy.
Horse and buggy.
I just had bike.
Tux.
On his tux, yeah, you know. Greg?
I went with his forehead.
On his forehead,
right
right.
there.
Right, yeah. Uh-huh.
I went with the beer burro, so the ass.
Yes, the ASS.
His ass.
Yes.
Bro, his ass.
That was
good
the
one,
most
Brandon.
common answer in
That's right.
1976.
That's
Was
right.
Keister, yeah.
Some of us watched the scouting tape before. You know? Got to break down tape.
All right, so it's 1-0 after one round. Very doable for Dominic to come back. Dominic, you are contestant B. Would you like question A or B in the second round?
Let's go with B.
Let's go with B. All right. Putting you back on hold.
Let's do it.
Question B. Mr. and Mrs. Jones love the Padres so much
How much?
do they love the Padres?
that they named their son blank.
Oh, this is easy.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones love the Padres so much they named their son blank.
Okay.
Got some ways you can go here. You can go this away. You can go that away.
Well,
This way,
since it's a
that way,
wholesome.
this
That's a
way,
good one.
that way.
That's a good one.
Panelists will let me know when they're done.
Okay.
Andy's done. Scraby's done.
Spelled wrong.
It's an A.
Greg is respelling.
I don't know how to
I'm
spell
done.
Eagles either.
Fair. Done.
Eagles.
Braden's
Luckily, that's
done.
in a song.
Most Eagles fans don't know how to spell Eagles.
That's true.
All right, here we go. Dominic, back to you, my friend. Mr. and Mrs. Jones love the Padres so much they named their son blank.
I'm gonna go with Tony.
Tony is a good answer.
Good
I
answer.
feel like you're gonna get matches
Yeah.
here, not from me. I wrote Friar Jones.
Friar Jones.
Very specific.
Very specific.
I said Tony or Tony Gwynn.
Tony, there's
Tony's
a
a
match.
match. I
Right.
also said Fryer.
Fryer. And
Wholesome
Braden.
third. I put Peter.
Oh.
Peter Sadler.
It is today's the anniversary of his passing.
yes.
Is
Yes.
it today? Really?
Rest in power.
Yes.
Peter Seidler. Dominic, you're still in the game, man. You got a match. That means you're tied 1-1 with Don. However, Don, that means you just need one match in this round, and you will be the winner. With that, I wish you luck. I put you back on hold. And here we go with the final question of the match game today. Dumb Dino is so dumb.
How dumb is he?
He's so dumb. He thinks French kissing means kissing a blank. Dumb Dino is so dumb, he thinks French kissing means kissing a blank. It's a very direct way to go. There's a slightly less direct way to go.
Okay, done.
Done. Greg?
Done.
Done. Braden?
I'm done.
Everyone's done. Here we go, Don. This is for the game. Dumb Dino is so dumb, he thinks French kissing means kissing a
French person?
French person.
Good
That's the
answer.
most obvious direct way you could possibly
Yes,
go.
True.
I went with croissant.
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 Mwah! I kiss the croissant.
I went with baguette.
I kiss the baguette.
I went with a dog, as in a French bulldog.
Yeah.
And I went with the beignet.
Oh my gosh, look at you guys.
I could have put a crepe.
Well, guess what happens?
Beignet.
Clip.
I'm not going to the tiebreaker.
Correct.
You're both such married, wonderful human beings. You're just going to both go in the hopper.
Wow.
Wow, this has never happened.
No, I know, because it's 12:57.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
That's
I really
right.
appreciate it.
You bet, Don.
It's very cool you love your wife.
We thought it was cool,
Dom.
too. Don, Dominic,
Dom.
stay right there. Both of you stay there. Braden's going to get your information.
Does
All-star
Greg
panel.
qualify for loving his wife and child?
No.
No.
Children?
Go Birds.
It wasn't.
No. He doesn't win.
He
All
barely even loves the Eagles.
right. That's right.
Let's be honest.
Can't even spell eagle.
Greg, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Scraves enjoying the show. We'll talk to you at 2.
Yep.
And we're back with hour number 4 of Annie and Elsten right after this. This hour on 97.3 The Fans brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings is football. Hey, San Diego sports fans, head to your local Buffalo Wild Wings. Try their new maple chipotle sauce for a rich maple sweetness and a mild smoky chipotle heat. Or for a bit of a kick, check out the new Cajun sauce for a rich blend of spicy and tangy pepper sauce. Stop by your San Diego B-Dubs or order now for takeout and delivery. Buffalo Wild Wings Go would be the way to go to get that done. All right, jumping into hour number 4 of Annie and Elsten. Annie Halbern, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprenet here with you. Braden just finishing screening out our 2 winners, Don and Dominic.
Don and Dominic.
Thanks again to Scrabes and to Greg.
Yes.
For joining us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, match game is always a good time. Always enjoyable. Tomorrow we play Anybody Knows. So get ready for that, Annie.
Oh, yeah, because you had to mix it up since...
Mm-hmm. We weren't going to play Craigabuddy Knows.
You could have played Craigabuddy Knows, but Anybody Knows just has a better ring to it.
It does. So, rolls off the tongue.
It's a good Friday game, too.
Makes sense conceptually. Craigabuddy Knows. What does that mean, even? It means nothing. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Tomorrow, full Friday show tomorrow. Media Melanie tomorrow. A couple other things we're trying to cook up for you between here and there, but looking forward to that. Get you all ready for the big sports weekend, and so on and so forth. Resetting some of the topics from earlier in the program here in the 1 o'clock hour. You know, we're in the big wait right now. That's what we're in. It's wait time from a baseball standpoint. You know, there's everything else is going on. NFL is going on. We don't have a team. You know, our beloved Lions are great. They're kicking butt. Huge win last week. You know, they're lining up as one of the best teams in the NFC. We'll talk some NFL next segment because Thursday Night Football, that's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I think so.
Later this afternoon. It'll be live here, by the way, on 97.3 The Fan, starting with pregame coverage at 4:30. But for the baseball world, apparently only the Angels are allowed to make moves. The other 29 teams are going to go ahead and wait for the GM meetings.
The Angels have been so active. Yeah, I mean, look, as it gets closer to the GM meetings, which will be in Dallas again this year, early December, things might heat up a little bit more. But sometimes, gosh, Craig, sometimes, and Braden, they don't come until after the GM meetings, closer to spring training. You know, like that month between the end of the GM meetings and like the weeks leading into spring training. So we'll see. A lot of times once that first move is made, and is that Juan Soto this year? Or who knows, right? Is that Corbin Burns? Is that just a few of the bigger guys? Sometimes that will just start the domino effect of, okay, this guy's off the board. Now let's really go heavy on this other guy. But a lot of teams right now, I think, are waiting in the, like you just said, they're waiting in, you know, the weeds, ready to make their move, but they don't want to buy too high. They're seeing what happens with the rest of the teams. It was a good Padres day because Roki Sasaki wasn't posted today. I'm going to say that every day until the first week of December. And Jim Bowden, again, we were always bringing up good old Jim because he's always writing in The Athletic about speculative things that he thinks could happen, which is his job. Wrote about how Roki Sasaki might not want to go to the Dodgers because the endorsement money that is already so high for Yoshinobu Yamamoto and for Shohei Ohtani might not be appealing to him. He might feel like he has to compete with that because how is he going to make up the other part of his salary that he's not getting since he's going to be signing a minor league deal and a deal that's going to net him less than $7 million. Right. It's going to Jim is saying it's going to be through endorsement deals, and maybe that is going to be too competitive within the Dodgers structure. And maybe he also doesn't want the heavy Japanese media presence that is along with the Dodgers. He'll still get a Japanese presence with whatever team he signs with. But with the Dodgers, I mean, it's to the point where they had to cut credentials big time last year because of Shohei Ohtani signing. So those are reasons he believes that it might not be the Dodgers like at the front of the race like other people believe. You know, and then you get to the psychology of Roki Sasaki. Why would he give up $300 million plus for the opportunity to be third banana on the LA Dodgers, to be the third Japanese star on the team, where Shohei will always get all the smoke? He's going to carry that cloud with him, so Roki's going to be caught up in that, but he's always going to be compared to Shohei, Yoshinobu, and then Roki. Okay, what are you doing compared to this? As opposed to
going against them, being the guy trying to beat them, being the guy trying to take them down. And I would suspect that a guy who is already giving up over $300 million in value to come into the league 2 years earlier isn't doing that to third banana along. He's doing that to try and maybe put his name up there with those guys. And the way to do that is to strike them out, is to beat them.
Yeah, that's the big thing with Roki Sasaki is we just don't know what his intentions and what's driving him in terms of like, does he see that as a con or as a pro to be on a team that already has that kind of presence? But Jim also, and we already know this, we already know that Roki Sasaki has a great relationship with Yu Darvish. He writes that he sees Yu Darvish as a godfather of sorts. And if that is the case, and the mentor of that, if I'm Roki Sasaki and it's important to me to kind of have that stability and that feeling of like I'm not necessarily competing with these other superstars, more like Yu Darvish is passing the torch to him and preparing him for what will be hopefully a really long and good career in the major leagues. That could also be another appealing thing for him coming to the Padres. I think it's important to point out too that a lot of these pieces are talking about how he's not a finished product. Like, don't expect him to necessarily come over and be right out the gate ready to go and not needing really hardly any kind of development and growth. He's going to need some of that. I mean, we've already talked about how he's had lesser of a innings pitched than they would have hoped.
Sure.
In Japan,
because he had a shoulder.
He had a shoulder issue,
yeah.
Right? And that there are some like maybe some development and some growing pains that he might hit, which is normal anyways for any pitcher that comes over to the major leagues. But that also for him, just as a young pitcher, like he might develop more. So in that sense too, like you might want to make sure that you're looking at the team around you as the team that can really bring the best out of you in that situation.
We'll keep talking about it probably every day until the decision happens.
And no, I'm seeing a comment in the chat. He doesn't have an injury now, but he did have an injury.
He did,
and that limited how many innings he pitched. And he could come to the team that he comes to this next year and not be able to go a full season, depending on how far he gets stretched out or how much his arm can hold. I mean, we've seen, with Ruben Niebla, it doesn't ever seem to be a problem. Guys are able to make a big innings jump year to year, but you just never know.
Keeping our eye on that, I do agree that probably the first thing that happens and the first domino that falls is Soto. Juan Soto is taking meetings at Scott Boris's office this week with Boris and with some various teams that are wooing him. The Blue Jays were reported to be the first team that were going to meet with Juan Soto. The Mets reportedly flying in Frankie Lindor to wine and dine and, pitch him on the Mets. I believe I read that Aaron Boone, part of the Yankees contingent, coming out, to try and hold him in place. And, then there's the West Coast teams. I agree with pretty much everything I've seen written for LA, which is like the Dodgers will probably show up,
I would think so.
But they don't. It doesn't really make sense for the Dodgers to sign Juan Soto.
I don't think the Dodgers are going to be in on Juan Soto unless his price drops.
And why would it?
Why would it? Right. Unless it's something like, okay, well, now we really have to pay attention to this because we can't really look away. But at this point, I think that I don't think that they want to shell that kind of money out. That's not really the way that they even do business. They do a lot of deferred contracts. They do a lot of kind of creative manipulation, if you will, of contracts, and unless that's already on the table for them. But I just don't know that they view Juan Soto as necessarily like the missing piece for them. He's a great player. I think that they would want him, but they have other fish to fry over there.
Well, and the other thing I read about LA, which is similar to the why the Yankees shouldn't sign discussion for Juan Soto, is that, look, LA's DH is locked up for the next 9 years. They're going to have one DH for the next 9 years, and that's Shohei Ohtani, and he's not going to play the field ever unless he hangs up his pitching for good.
Yeah.
Like if Shohei Ohtani's declared after next year, listen, I just hurt my shoulder again. It's 3 injuries in 5 years. I'm done pitching. I'm going to be a full-time player. And because of that, I'm going to, work out in right field, and I'm going to go become the right field, or I'm going to be first base. When Freddie, in 2 years, I'll become the first baseman after Freddie leaves. Something like that. Short of that, he's the DH forever. So if the Dodgers signed Soto, that means they're parking him in the outfield for years and years. I think every team that signs him expects him to be a DH pretty soon.
Which is interesting because he's not that old. I mean, he's what, 20-something?
26.
Yeah, 26. So I don't know. You know, it's or maybe getting a little bit more creative with how you move him around. But for the Dodgers, I don't see them getting into a bidding war over him. You know, I don't see them, and that's probably what it's going to take. It's probably going to become, or what Scott Boras hopes it becomes, is a bidding war and teams really fighting for him. And I don't see the Dodgers doing that. I could see the Dodgers pouncing if the opportunity falls to them more. And that's why I think we haven't heard them in a lot of discussions too. You know, it's really been more Mets, Yankees, what we've heard, Blue Jays, those teams that have been in on it from the beginning. But I don't know, Scott Boras, it's always too, like, there's always someone waiting in the wings. There's always like a little bit of what else is behind curtain number 3 that's going on with Scott Boras.
Yeah, well, if Scott Boras winds up getting Juan Soto a 1+1 pillow deal that's signed at the end of March, he should just go ahead and stop. Like, then the slump will have reached epic proportions. I think Soto will sign at the winter meetings. I actually believe for Scott Boras, for Boras, I think he wants the big deal to happen on the big stage so that he gets every one of the writers to write the Boris's backstory. And Soto wants the money. So that's why I think those meetings are happening now, is so that they can like winnow it down, and then in a week or two you'll get the John Heyman story, 3 finalists and a mystery team.
Yeah.
You know, right? And then at the meetings, you know, 1 or 2 days, and then they make the announcement.
I could see them wanting to get this done. I don't think this is something that they want to push into spring training like what happened last year with Boras. I think that he does want to get this moving. Ohtani signed early last year, but they were very clear on the partnership for that. I mean, you knew the Dodgers wanted him, and you knew he wanted the Dodgers. It was a good fit for both sides there. Boras has already said that he thinks the Soto sweepstakes is going to be slow moving, but I think that is also gamesmanship. I agree. I think he would like it to get done, and I think Juan Soto would like it to get done. This thing, as much as it's exciting for a player, and the amount of money is more than a lot of us could ever dream of, even for a guy like Manny Machado, who that was a big contract when he signed, or whoever, any of the big contracts that happened, you hear about it later how stressful that whole period was,
right,
and how uncertain it was, and all the rumors that are going around. And so even though the money seems like, well, what is there to worry about? You know, and I get that. Juan Soto, I'm sure, is going to want to get this figured out, at least in a normal procession, so he can get to spring training when he needs to.
All right, when we come back, an idea that Braden pointed to me at like 10 minutes before the show today. And then we both said, wait a second, that's crazy. And then, but what would Annie think? And then I started to go, what do I think?
What is this?
Oh, well, you'll have to find out after the break.
Oh, God.
Annie and Elsten, right after this, San Diego's #1 sports station. It's 97.3 The Fan. 122 on the Fan. Annie and Elsten rolling till 2 o'clock. We'll talk a little Thursday night football in a minute. That's going to be on the air later. 5:20 kick, 4:30. We'll have pregame coverage for the Commanders and the Eagles.
Hey.
2 7-win teams, good teams, 2 good quarterbacks.
Should be a good game.
Yeah, Daniels and Hurts. Should be a good game. We'll check that out a
Saquon.
little bit. Yeah, Saquon jumping over people backwards. Is he allowed to do that anymore, or is it just going to be one time?
I don't think there's a
They'll probably make the
rule.
rule this offseason.
Yeah, you're not allowed to hurdle
Yeah.
backwards. We have
Penalty.
we have too many young kids getting smashed.
Right.
Somebody did it. I saw some kid try to do it, and he got helicoptered.
Oh,
Of course he got
man.
helicoptered.
Yeah,
he
this is not a
didn't jump
move
as
everyone should
high.
try.
He got crushed, and it was
Oh, no.
we should probably not do this anymore.
Don't try this at home.
Yeah, that
Don't
was
try this
not-
in your home game.
Yes.
That was not done here in San Diego County. It was done somewhere on the East Coast, and it was just, you're just asking to get hit in a very vulnerable region.
Yes, you don't want to get hit
No.
and hurt.
All right, so here's how I'll walk into this story. As we've been bantering about, I've been building my little Blue Sky account over here and following things. And
You're really into Blue Sky.
well, no, I'm just saying. This
keep
is my
thinking he's
lead-in
saying blue
because we looked to see, are all the same Twitter bots over here? In particular, one Twitter bot that has given us some grist for the mill, the content mill in the past, which is MLB Executive Burner.
That's great.
So I searched it, and in fact, I just found one person's post saying, please don't bring over MLB Executive Burner. I thought that was funny.
What if MLB Executive Burner is really like AJ Preller?
That would be really, really funny.
Is that what everybody thought like that Judd guy on Twitter was?
Right.
They thought it was Chris
Yes.
Paddock, and then
They
they thought it was
Chris
Preller.
They
Right.
did. For years, they thought Judd was Paddock. Then they thought Judd was Preller. And he's actually neither.
All right.
Who knows
probably
who he
nobody.
is, actually.
Probably Craig.
I promise you he's not
Conspiracies.
me. I promise you he's not me. But I would like to know who it is. And I think it's probably not even great. You know what I mean? It's probably just somebody random.
Making stuff up.
Making stuff up. Well, and that's what MLB Executive Burner does. He just makes stuff up. And he threw a bunch of different contract numbers out there, and he threw one out for R. Jurickson Profar that when Braden said it to me, he goes, did you see what MLB Executive Burner gave to Profar in one of his tweets? And I'm like, what? He goes, 6 years, $84 million. I go, oh, the Will Myers deal? Because those numbers somehow are burned into my mind.
Oh, was that Will's deal?
That is Will's deal.
Will Myers got a 6-year, $83 million contract from the San Diego
Shout out
Padres.
Will Myers.
Shout out Will Myers. Shout out the bars where he paid the drinks.
And
do that.
Maggie
Because he
and
had
their
that
little baby.
contract.
Right.
You tell me Profar signs that contract, he'll be out there.
Well, Will signed
Slinging
it at a
some drinks.
younger age,
I
I
know he
think,
did.
right?
He did.
He did.
Yeah.
Way
He
younger
did.
age.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, that was actually
mid-20s.
one of the first big contracts for this ownership group. It, then came Hosmer, then came Manny, but Will Myers was a
Jed
huge
Jerko
for its
paved
time.
the way.
Yeah.
Jed Jerko paved the way.
Yes.
So Will Myers, Eric Hosmer, and Manny Machado could run.
Jed Jerko walked so that
Right.
Will
That's
Myers
right.
could run. It's true. It's all true. It's all true. Okay. That trade, that signing, aged poorly after 2 years, right? By the second or third year, the Will Myers contract looked like a bad deal.
We did get the hit by a pitch in the home run derby. That was kind of cool.
He did get moved all over the
He did. He got moved to
outfield
right.
and
The
infield.
third base experiment didn't last very long.
He signed
I'm
as a
not
pretty
sure
good
if they
first
tried
baseman.
to get him to change a swing 70 times or
I
he
think
tried
they
to get
did.
it. I don't know, but yeah, I don't.
Plus, we had that Fortnite thing with Carlos
Andy
Asuaje, Andy Green, Andy, man. gee.
In September, bro.
Bro.
Drilling
And
in
Asuaje's like, dude, I'm streaming this.
Nothing but respect for Will Myers.
This is live.
So many great stories. White queso.
The white queso,
That was a problem for
the bangs he
couple
would
days.
have.
He's just out there on the golf course,
I
North
love
Carolina,
it, yeah.
living his best life.
I would love him to come guest host.
Somebody, I think,
But
in our
anyways.
hot tub Discord
You
showed
trade Craig for Will.
fair.
Sounds good.
Jeez, fair, but do I get to play his golf?
Yeah, you
Wow.
get to
Yeah.
switch with him. You get to go play golf in
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina for a day.
Okay.
I think that's so
Hang on.
it's a win
Oh,
for
you
both
know what?
sides
That's
here.
good. Adam has a
Wait
good
a
point in
second.
the
What's wrong with
chat.
this deal?
The hardest thing with Will, well, not hard, but
Hard?
when he was given his contract and then the Chargers left shortly thereafter. They relocated, and Phillip Rivers was no longer like the face of San Diego sports, and there was like media
Who's the face of the
hullabaloo,
franchise?
right? And people made Will the face of San Diego sports, and not just the franchise, face of San Diego sports, and we'll never ask for that. We'll never ask for that.
And then Hosmer took over, and then it was Manny, and then it was Tatis, and then it was
Literally
somebody different. Every
Oh
year.
my God, Braden, you've just said one of my pet theories, but Will Myers couldn't be the face of the team, and therefore, for the wrong reasons, they reached out to Eric Hosmer. And they were like, no, that we need
They
need
face the
leadership.
franchise.
We need a face. We need leadership. And guess what? We're still paying Will Myers.
And then that
We're
one
still
didn't-
paying, not Will Myers, Eric Hosmer.
And
We're
then that
still
one didn't
paying
work
Eric Hosmer.
out. Then they got to get Manny, and then
Well, now, yeah, Manny worked out. So now we're good.
But Manny probably wouldn't have signed if Eric wasn't already here.
Maybe
true.
So
we did offer him the most money.
that's true.
no, the White Sox did.
I thought the White Sox did. Or
White
was it-
Sox offered him more money, significantly more.
How much
Did
significantly?
they?
They offered him like over $400 million,
Really?
and he said no. And Yonder Alonso
Is
was
that
brought
is that
in.
a rumor or is
Yonder,
that?
no, they were upset. Remember, they had the whole interview with the White Sox. They're like, we really thought we were going to get this guy, and they sent Yonder Alonso over there to talk to him. He's like, oh, it's his brother-in-law. And Yonder the whole time was like, yo, dude, San Diego's way cooler than Chicago.
All right. So with all of that set up,
I mean, that is true. Well, no slander to no offense to Chicago, but the White
It's the
Sox.
White
He would be
Sox.
playing on the White Sox right now, which is like circling the drain, trying to get himself out
Yes.
of the drain.
But
of course,
we did not
they'd
offer
be a
the
better
most.
team because he'd be on it. So
True.
Well,
Maybe he could have
theoretically.
attracted more stars
Yeah.
over there if they
May-
would pay the money. I don't know. Their analytics and their team playing is
he'd probably have been
pretty lacking still.
Actually, real talk, he would have opted out after the 5 years and
Oh,
he'd
yeah.
be like the Mets third baseman now, probably. Sliding doors. The question to be put to the panel here, and specifically to you, Annie, is Profar, the man that's hard to price. And if he's going to get paid a market deal for 3 years, it's probably too much for San Diego. We all kind of agree on that.
Yes.
But what if? Is there a universe? Is there a universe where you would accept a deal like this? We're just playing off MLB executive burner. We're playing off the Myers deal. So
It's Jim Bowden.
6 years, $83 million, $15 million signing bonus up front. Okay. He gets 15 apiece for the first 3 years of the deal. Then 3 consecutive club options at $7 million for Profar.
yes, I would accept that deal. Yes.
Average
mean,
annual
you
value
get
on that
your-
deal is $11 million.
Okay, so you're keeping the AAV, you're keeping the luxury tax low. He's getting guaranteed $45 million. Then it sounds like $15 million a year for the first 3 years.
For the first 3 years.
And then so that's
plus a signing bonus, so you
plus
get
a signing
60
bonus.
guaranteed.
So you
Perfect.
offered up the deal we're talking about where it's all up front.
Yes.
Now you're saying.
Put the money in the bag up front.
put the fries in
We
the
had
bag.
the
Put
fries?
the
You
fry
put
with the fries.
with
Put
the
the
fries
fries and the money in the bag. Then after 3 years, when he's 34, now the Padres, who have properly compensated Profar for all of his, voluminous contributions to the club, can now make an assessment and go, okay, at age 34, what are you bringing us? Are you Are you still worth $7 million? Are you worth more than that? Holy cow, we came up with a bargain deal. But are you worth $7 million? Plug and continue. Are you not? See ya.
Yeah.
Commitment ends after 3. Listen, there's risk even in that, but the whole idea of the more years isn't to lock them in. It's to spread down that average annual
Yes.
value
Correct.
and then have a cutoff point where you could chop the contract in half.
Yes, and if Jurickson, who is used to betting on himself at this point, accepts that, he knows, all right, I got to make sure I'm earning each year after that. But he also knows that, and look, Jurickson is a hard worker. I don't ever think that he's going to rest. But if for some reason he wants the guaranteed money up front or another team is offering him that, that's a good way for the Padres to say, hey, we know you deserve more than what you got last year. So we're going to guarantee the first half of this contract no matter what, down year, injury, whatever, which is what players get every day. That is the same kind of contract players get every single day. And I think when you're the Padres, you got to be thinking that way for some of these players because you don't have the luxury. And nor should you necessarily be making big, long contracts because of all the ones that you already have. You need to have some flexibility in your roster.
The only because basically Braden said this. I went Will Myers deal. We had the laugh the Will Myers deal.
But Will was guaranteed the whole way.
Right. And then we're like, we'll never do that. Duh. And then I'm like, I wonder what Andy would say. Don't know. And then I almost started to talk myself into it, and it's because of this structure.
But why did you talk? Do you not want to give him the first 3 years guaranteed?
Well,
why do you talk about
a lot of money?
$683 is just a lot of money. It's a lot of years.
Yeah.
It's a lot of commitment. Yeah. If it was just a straight, clean Xander Bogaerts type deal of nothing deferred, nothing else, just take 83, chop it over 6, $18 million per year. Mm-hmm. It's too high a number. It's messing up with our luxury tax too much.
Which we're already over.
Yeah.
Right, which we're already over. So now we're practically to the second limit. So now we can't sign a pitcher, et cetera, et cetera. I don't like the 3-year, $45 million version of signing Jurickson, even though you could make an argument that's the same deal that I'm talking about here, because that's what it would turn into if you cut him halfway.
It's kind of that deal, right? It's essentially that deal, and then almost like he's a option free agent, almost like but the team gets to decide first.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is if you take it from 3 to 6, but the last 3 are San Diego's choice instead of Jurickson's choice, then it's a 3 that gets treated like a 6 for average annual value, but plays like a 3 in terms of years of commitment in real life.
I think Jurickson would take that deal. I don't know.
I kind of think he would too.
But I think he would,
it's probably not the best deal he's going to get, but it's definitely a fair deal to stay.
To stay, right. And if that's kind of hey, if it's between that and another $5 or $10 million, and now if it's between that and another, I don't know, guaranteed $30 million, you have to think harder about that. But maybe for a team that you don't want to really necessarily play for or go to a city you don't necessarily want to go to.
Rocky's second chance. Maybe this time it'll work.
This time it'll work.
He does have the dinger cleats.
That's right.
So, but he can buy new cleats.
Bud Black's I think he fixed his problems. I think we're ready to have him back.
Just a thought.
Well, what have we been seeing for him? We've been seeing numbers being thrown around a little bit in the high 30s. I thought for Jurickson, honestly, I thought it would be more like 224, but I'm more seeing, at least from the rumor mill, it's been 3, 4, and it's been in the high 30s, and so I think that's kind of the kind of a deal where it's you're definitely rewarding a player and you're giving him financial certainty, at least for those 3 years, and then you're also saying, do what you've done every year of your career, essentially. You're going to go out and prove yourself, and that you can continue going. Now, if he gets a deal for 6 years, $85 million from someone guaranteed, then I think Jurickson has to consider that.
Yeah, he's got to go. He's just got to go. I think probably.
But I don't know if he's going to get that. I really don't.
If there's 100 scenarios for Jurickson Profar this offseason, I bet you 85 of the scenarios lead him away from San Diego because it was just too good a performance. He's right at the age at 31 that a team would be willing to look at 3 years of commitment.
He brings a lot of intangibles.
Right. All of those things now feel more proven because it's happened multiple times.
And if you are a Philadelphia team that has money to burn and you can do those types of, even a 3-year, like a 3-year 40 or 3-year 42 or whatever,
right.
That's, and then now I would still consider, if I'm him and I got that deal from Philadelphia, but I also got the deal you just mentioned from the Padres, I would definitely consider the Padres. I mean, because it's you're essentially doing the same thing. You'd be a free agent later anyways.
Right.
And you're in San Diego where you want to be. But it's more if it's a much higher, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I've always thought if the numbers are close, Jurickson will come back here. But that follows, if the numbers are close, that means the Padres are paying market value for Jurickson Profar. And if you're paying market value for Jurickson Profar, how can you make your team better in 2025? But if you let him go, how are you going to make your team better in 2025? Because now you've got to replace that production.
And what is your payroll? What exactly are the numbers you're working with? And if Luis Arraez is part of a payroll that's going to be 210 million, they're already up against it. And I don't see how they make something work like that for Jurickson. I think it has to be one or the other. If they're planning on flying past that payroll, then you can make these sorts of things work. But you still also need, if you're not getting, if you get Roki Sasaki, you get a little bit of a get out of jail free card, a little bit.
No, you do.
Right? Yeah, you do. But if not, you got to look at that rotation and invest money there too, depending on what that payroll is.
You know, the beautiful thing about the Jurickson situation is until it's resolved, it's so difficult. It's so convoluted that we can almost literally talk about it every day. And it still holds value.
And will he be one that signs late? Will he? I don't think he doesn't want to do that either.
No.
He wants to know where he's going. So what are the, what's the chess that the teams are going to play in terms of a guy like him? How fast will he go? Different agent now, not with Scott Boras anymore. So will that help him and maybe move a little faster in this free agency process? We'll see.
Interesting thought process. Curious what y'all think. So far on social media, I've heard no, 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 and no when I put out for.
Were you and Braden for this trade, for this deal, or no?
I mean, originally no, but I've created the landscape by which I'd accept it, which is the 3 club options. That part I like.
Right.
That part I feel is like kind of sneaky cool in terms of.
I would not accept the 6-year, $83 million, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's
just
straight up.
That's going to be a no for me, dog.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely a no for me. I don't think so. Especially if we're even considering not going over the luxury tax. I mean, it just
then it's a hard no. Yeah,
super hard.
Yeah,
no.
they're not going to be able to do it.
You're not, right? I mean, you're already $3 million over right now, right? So you're already going to have to send players away that you like.
And if you're not signing Luis Ariz to a multi-year contract, that number that he's going to sign for arbitration, 13, 14, 15, 16 million, all goes against the luxury tax.
Yeah, for 1 year, right?
Right, for 1 year.
So that is your average annual value right there. That goes even higher. So, but that is currently accounted for on that number that we see.
There we
so
go.
that
all right.
That's including the potential arbitration for Cease and yada 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 yada. But if that's the case, if they're going to stay underneath that threshold and then claim that they're all in. Which I don't know how you can use the term all in if you're going to stay underneath the luxury tax. That's not all in. We're going to try to be competitive. That's not we are all in. All in to me is like we are trying to assemble the best team we possibly can and money is no issue. That is all in to me.
Yeah.
When you're all in poker,
you got no chips behind.
Exactly. Like you're not
It's
trying
all
to
your money.
casually be all, hey, we're all in. Well, what are those chips sitting over
That's a
there?
scary
Well,
feeling.
these are my side chips. These are my
You know what
these
those
are
are
my
powerful
rainy day
my
chips.
$20 worth.
Yeah,
it's
this
a
is my
powerful
buy.
feeling,
I'm
too.
all no, you can't say you're all in and then say but we know what? We're gonna stay underneath the luxury tax.
Yeah.
You can't have it both
No,
ways.
that-
then don't say you're all in. I don't. You
Well,
can
then
do
you're
that.
not.
It's fine,
You
but you're not all in.
literally can't.
Competitive
You're saying
team.
I'm betting
Right.
15. Oh, you raised? I fold. That's what you're saying.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me this. Don't just throw around all in like it's a cool term.
Yeah, no.
You know what? Negative aura for you.
Negative
Negative
aura.
aura.
That's a negative aura move.
How much negative aura is Craig going to have after he plays on Twitch with
With Fortnite,
Ella?
I'll have
and-
positive aura.
and
he's gonna
Screamy
get
and Ben Higgins?
some 10-year-old to drop an F-bomb, MF him and talk smack and do the little L dance, and he's just gonna negative aura through the roof.
Oh, come on.
Although the competition of who can make it in the top 50 in Fortnite would be hilarious. I honestly
hope
think
I'd
Craig's
win.
probably the favorite, the betting
Yeah, I'd
favorite of
hope
those
I'd
3.
win. I'd hope I'd win.
You have the inside knowledge. You got
right.
a personal
oh,
coach.
I mean, oh my God. Once I told him that I would do that,
Yeah,
I'd love to
exactly.
see a montage too, like a Rocky montage.
you can't even believe how much my eardrum would be taxed. As
Yes.
soon as I
Oh,
tell,
yeah.
I'm
I
going to
think
play.
this is great. This is great. We could
Be
see
like-
the Rocky montage of James getting you in shape
Right.
for this Fortnite competition.
Yeah.
You'll be punching some rib cage of a cow somewhere.
He'll
at
speak
some
6 hours
butchery.
consecutive without stopping to breathe.
Do you
Get
know?
Get your
like,
notepad
for
out. Get your
example-
legal pad out.
For
Start taking some
example,
notes.
Do you know what a big pot is?
That's when you put all your chips in. Then it's a big
That's
pot.
all in. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a
Well,
big pot.
A
Do you know
battle
what that
bus?
is?
Do you know what a battle bus?
Isn't
I'm
that the
on
thing that
Fortnite
flies
terms
over
here.
and drops off?
Is
Isn't that what that
is?
is?
That the
The-
thing that floats
It
down?
brings the player. It brings
Yeah,
the
it's the
players
thing
to
that
the
brings
island
you
at the
into the
start of the
thing.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do know that one.
Yeah.
They
Do
come-
you know
they
what
come
that one is?
floating in.
Andy?
They come
Andy's
floating
throwing-
in. I'm looking
she's
at
got
the
the
thesaurus.
dictionary out right
Yeah,
now.
do you know what it means to be cracked at Fortnite?
Does that mean you're
If you're good
too
at the
good?
game.
You're too good that you're
or,
broken,
or
basically?
It describes a noise and visual cue of an enemy shield breaking, but it means you're good at the game.
Yeah.
Man, dude, you're so cracked.
Yeah, you're broken,
So
basically.
cracked at Fortnite.
Yeah, you're OP. You're
So
overpowered.
negative aura to both of you.
OP.
Put the fries in the bag, old guys.
Let's take a time out, but when we come back,
More Fortnite terms.
or
How about Spawn Island?
yes, I know about the
The
spawning.
initial, what is
Yeah.
this? The initial place where everyone spawns
Yeah,
before
it's where
going
they
on the
show
battle
up.
bus?
Characters
Like you show up,
appear,
you
like-
pick your character, and then they're all hanging out, and you can do a bunch of random things. And then when the game loads, and then they throw you in the bus, and the bus looks like up. It's got balloons attached to it,
what
and
if,
then
like-
you jump out of the bus onto this island that's like the Hunger Games, and then you have at it. Last one standing wins, and there's
That's
100 of
basically
you.
it.
That's literally what the game
That's
is.
the game.
Well, I'm not playing this.
Just planning for the dystopian future where you will all be fighting for your life every day. Okay.
I volunteer Craig as tribute.
May the odds ever be in my favor.
That's right.
For the next 7 minutes, you can call this show at 833-288-0973. Tom just called in. He's on hold right now. We're going to take our last time out. And when we come back, we're going to take Tom's call and anyone else who dials in the next 7 minutes at 833-288-0973. We only have one requirement for you. That's to come with a question pre-prepared to ask the program on Ask Us Anything. That's how we'll wrap up the show. Then Gwen and Chris at 2 right here on The Fan.
Bummer they
Well,
missed
that
one.
ends our 5 minutes of talking about the YouTube chat. Now
That's
let's
right.
get back to more phone calls.
I can't believe you said that about Adam Paul. And I need money.
Well,
How
I mean,
dare
when
you?
I specifically called out Adam, Nate, Daniel, I need money.
I need money.
And Anthony.
Yeah.
Hopefully they weren't too
I
offended.
can't believe Annie said that about I need money.
I can't either.
Wow.
Nonetheless. Here's
Unreal.
Will in Oceanside. Hi, Will. Ask us anything.
Hey guys, I'm the one that's asked you a couple times this year about charity poker tournament. I heard you guys talking about Fortnite and poker, and you said I think you guys said that getting cracked was a good thing. In
Not
Fortnite.
aces.
It is not a good thing in poker to be cracked. My question today for you guys, especially for you, what is your favorite starting hand? My favorite is Jack 10 suited.
Ooh.
What is yours if you have one? Thank you, and I'll take the answer off the air.
That might just be for you there, buddy.
My favorite starting hand is either to roll the dice or
Uh-huh.
to take my money and go shopping at the mall across the street.
My favorite hand is whatever one wins. I couldn't even tell you.
Pocket aces. What are you talking about? The best hand. I want to have the best hand. Give me the best hand every single time. I do like Jack 10 suited, and I play it every time. I do like Jack 10 suited a lot. In fact, I would have probably said Jack 10 suited if you didn't already say it. So now I'm just going to say pocket aces. Juan in Vista wraps things up. Hi, Juan.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey,
Doing
Juan.
great, man. How are you?
Hey, what's going on?
I'm doing great. The only question I had was, I know we're talking about jerks and Profar and stuff, and my question is, as a replacement, what do you guys think of bringing over Alex Verdugo?
Ooh, interesting question, Juan. I'm not the biggest Alex Verdugo fan.
He's a replacement level player.
A year
No
or two
thanks.
ago, I'd say he'd produce the same as Profar, 240 average with like 15 homers. But Jerk since last year
Yeah.
Let's
pushes
give you
him on top.
It's gonna
I
be a
would
no
rather
for
have
me, big
Jerkson.
dog.
Yeah, I'm not. Not
But I
a
appreciate
huge...
the putting it into
No,
the
it's
hopper.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Juan,
Yeah, we're-
creativity is appreciated.
That's right.
Call us back tomorrow. But we're done today. See ya.
Bye.
Adios.